This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot on my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling.
What up, what up, what up? It's your boy Phil, all caps, chilling with my guy, Apollo Reed of the Guard Up Knicks podcast. We appreciate all of you guys coming out. We have been swamped. Life has been crazy for all of us. December, January, besides like life and holidays, just tons of things have come up. So we appreciate you guys rocking with us and being here today. If you guys can, I know, at any point in time now, it seems like there's multiple Knicks streams and multiple Knicks spaces and multiple Knicks everything going on at the same time. So we appreciate those of you that are here. If you can, hit a retweet, hit a post on Instagram, share it on your YouTube to your friends. Whatever, let's pack this place out and talk Knicks because we got a lot to freaking talk about today. And I'm feeling good about what's going on with our Knicks right now. And my guy, Diehard Eru, has shown up. His computer finally updated, so we're going to bring him to the stage as well. What up, what up, what up?
Stress.
My God, it was good, bro.
Always, man. If it's not like some family stuff, man, just come and sit into the computer, pushing a button and just shut the whole computer down. Crazy.
I know, man. Life is crazy. And that's why I'm happy that we were all able to get on today because it feels like it's been way too long, like since we were able to talk Knicks. And there's a lot to freaking talk about. So I'm going to adjust my mic real quick because I was using StreamYard's, mic settings where it auto adjusts, but it's not doing a great job. I was just told that it's a little loud, so I'm going to lower it just a little bit. If you guys are watching the stream, let me know if I'm too loud or if I'm, sounding good on your guys' end. I just switched to add some stuff to my system, so I want to make sure it sounds all right. But how you guys doing? I see my guy on Dios NYK in the building. Appreciate you, my guy. Nostalgic Nick is here. He said Minute Police is his name now. Josh Hart has some words for you. And then, we got more in the chat, so we appreciate you guys all. We're going to have some of our Nick of Time families going to pop in throughout the episode if they can and share some thoughts on what's been going on with the Knicks. And then we're going to have open panel for anyone that's willing to come up and, actually man up with or woman up for that case with your takes. It's easy to, just throw something in the little side chat right here and go back and forth, but let's actually chop it up. So how you doing, Apollo? What's been up, man?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I had a whole entire week off last week. I went down to Florida. We went to Universal. Of course, it was like 50 degrees in Orlando, so I brought the cold with me.
Yep.
Apparently. But it was a little birthday getaway. We had a little fun with the family, so,
It was your birthday, right?
Yeah, it was my birthday, yeah.
Yeah, happy birthday, man.
Appreciate that.
Speaking of being in Orlando, what's crazy is I call this guy like my extended family, and he was about 25 minutes from me, and I didn't get to see him once. So, it is what it is. Anytime I've been in Charlotte or in the Concord area, I stay about 45 minutes from him, but I always let him know I'm coming out, and I go visit him. So, it is what it is. Eru, how you doing? No hard feelings. No hard feelings here.
No, man. I feel bad. I apologize for that. My family had me wrapped up the whole time. So that's on me. That was on me. My cousin already hit me up because he lives in Orlando and I didn't stop. I haven't seen my cousin in over 10 years. So he was like, you came out here, you didn't tell me you were here. So
yeah,
what happened was my bad. Bro. I'm terrible, man. My apologies.
Isn't that just like family though? Family always does that. They pull up. What are you doing over here? No, you don't just pop by. You live in another state. How did you get over here?
Right. Yeah.
I've been.
But yeah, appreciate the birthday love, y'all. Appreciate y'all.
What's up with you, Eru?
Same old stuff, man. I'm trying to get my weight up, man. I've been working out, trying to get my weight down and stuff. I've been doing a really good job with that. So that's been priority, man, over everything. And then just work and family and stuff. So this pod should be called like work and family pod because that's basically what's been holding us down.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Matrix.
Matrix. Come back, Phil. Come back.
He'll be back. He's coming.
Yeah.
He's coming.
I lost y'all for a second.
There he is.
Yeah, I was gonna say, me and my wife are kind of doing the same thing. We decided to, switch things up, and we're actually doing the carnivore diet right now, and we're enjoying that. But you have to eat. You can't eat till about 12 o'clock, 12:30 during the day. So like when you do get your meal times, you're like, all right, I'm famished. So actually, while y'all were talking, because we had friends visiting today, I made my dinner, didn't get to finish it. So there's going to be times throughout the show that y'all are going to be giving your takes and my camera's going to go off. And it's not because I hate y'all or don't care about your takes. It's I made some really freaking good chicken thighs and I want to enjoy them. So I am going to take some breaks and I'm going to eat on my food while we talk Knicks. Gotta eat. So thanks to everybody that has shown up so far. Like I said, we know that there are tons of options on any given night to be able to talk Knicks, and there are people that are doing multiple spaces and shows and this and that and whatever. I know there's probably 5 going on right now. So for those of you that chose to rock with us, we appreciate it. If you could post it on Twitter, post it on Instagram, text somebody and say, what are you doing with your life? Come watch the Knicks Nightcap and let's chop it up. But we got good news so far, guys. Like a big thing that we've talked about and other channels have talked about is that even after some wins, it's been like, well, that's great, but we aren't beating teams that we need to beat. Like, this isn't an impressive win. It was a win, but it wasn't an impressive win. Look who we were playing. And that's kind of been the theme for a while, is like, okay, we got a good record, but against teams that matter, we're not doing well. Well, in this last 5-game win streak, we've been able to say that 4 of those games have been impressive against teams that are good, against teams that have had our numbers before. So we beat the Hawks. We got our revenge against the Hawks. We then, took on Sabonis and, Fox, and we beat the Kings. And now friggin' Fox is on the trade block. We then went up and we beat Ja Morant and the Grizzlies, and really, really gave them a hard time, locked those guys down. And then last night, and the great thing about the Grizzlies is they're in the same spot that we are in the West Coast, in the West, pretty much the same exact record after that game and same exact spot. We're both in that 3rd seed in our division. So that's impressive. And then last night against the Nuggets, we took that victory as well, which was a very, very impressive game to see that all of our guys across the board contributed. A lot of times we could be like, oh, we won that game because of this guy. But these last few games, we've been able to say it's been a team effort. And a lot of guys have stepped up in multiple ways. So what are your guys' thoughts on the last, 5-game win streak? Is this something that, we can continue on this win streak and continue going into the NBA All-Star break with this kind of traction? Because that would be something that would be really, really refreshing going into NBA All-Star break with this kind of hype behind us. So what's your thoughts, Eru, on these last 5 games, and what have you seen that have impressed you? Shout out to Sherwin in the building.
Well, you said a lot of things, man. You know what I'm saying? But I want to remind you, if you want a carnivore diet, you got to get some wet wipes, bro. You know what I'm saying? Head to Costco, get as much, comfortable wet wipes as you can, man, because you're gonna need them. And also, too, I want to take credit for that, for Fox getting put on the trade block, man. We basically got them up out of there, when we played them the other day.
Yeah.
But I just want to throw something out there. I feel like the Knicks are beating teams that we could beat. So I mean, teams like the Kings, the Grizzlies, or whatever, they don't have, and the Nuggets, they don't have like those wings that destroy us. Teams like like the Bucks, we beat the Bucks by damn near 40 also, man. But it's these teams like the Pistons and the Rockets, those type of teams. Even Atlanta, gave us trouble when we did beat them. The Nets gave us trouble because they had like those weird wings. That was a weird game anyway. Mm-hmm. But we still have an Achilles heel, which is those defending against other wings. You know what I'm saying? So There's a long season. We still got to figure it out. And just right around the corner, we play the Rockets in 2 games, so we were gonna get to test that out. But I mean, it's been fun. We definitely needed it. You lose one game in Knicks land, and the whole sky, the floor, everything, sky falls. The floor comes up from underneath us and stuff. So to get this nice win streak, we definitely needed it. You know what I'm saying? So it's good. Mm-hmm.
So before you go, Apollo, I want to say one thing. Sherman, I like you. I'm thankful that you come into the chat week to week. But sometimes I really wonder if you're a Knicks fan. Like some of your comments, like straight up, good night. You guys need to take a chill pill. Like, we're not going to beat Houston. They're going to blow us out. Like, goodness gracious, man. How are you? Let's go with that.
I think so. The past like couple weeks, whenever he says good night, I'm like, is he saying like he's going to bed? Because the show just started and he always says good night. So I'm wondering if that's how he says it.
That's some. I think he might be.
There you go.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Sherwin. Are you Jamaican? Because Jamaicans do that. They go hello, good night. I'm like,
yeah. So, but that's the great. That's the greeting. So that's I was picking up on the lingo. I'm like, okay, so he's not. It's his greeting. So aside from everything else, the good night was his greeting.
Yeah.
Everything else.
No. And that's what I'm saying. Like, he comes in right with his greeting, and before we can even be like, oh, thanks for being in the building, there's like 5 different, chats after about how miserable we are as Knicks and how our team sucks. But Apollo, what are your thoughts, my guy?
I mean, I'm glad that when we played in December, Trini. Okay. Yep. There you go. Makes sense. There you go. Complete understanding. I'm Antiguan background, so I understood the lingo. That's why I was like, all right, hold on. Like, he's not being disrespectful. But shout out to you anyway. So December, we had a great month. That was real New York-ish of me. But our concern was we were beating all of those weak teams. You know what I mean? So now that we're at the end of January and we're starting to hit the stride that we're hitting now and we're beating good teams, that's good. That's definitely good. But like Eru said, there's still things that we have to improve on. Even last night, that third quarter, they punched us right in the mouth. You know what I mean? As soon as they came out. So it was kind of like they figured out a weakness that we have, which every team has one. You know what I mean? I don't want to sit here and say that because we have a weakness, I don't think we can go far, because I think every team does have a weakness. If there's anything, the only thing that I'm worried about is the fact that, like you said, the wings, that position that we typically have issues with, because we're, pretty small outside of Macau and OG, aside for our bigs. But, going against those teams like Houston now, luckily we don't have to play Houston all season or in the playoffs until, God forbid, if we see them in the finals, then that'd be something that you really worry about at that point. But until we play the Celtics again, I want to see how we match up against the Celtics this time. Because I just want to worry about what we can handle right now. And I mean, right now, if we don't have to worry about guys like the Rockets, it's a good test, but I want to see how we match up against guys like the Celtics. So all in all, long-winded, but I'm glad that we're beating teams we're supposed to beat, but there's still a level. I think we're clicking, but there's still another level I think we can go to. And, it's because of, the teams that Sharon is naming: Boston, Orlando, Detroit, Houston, OKC, the teams that have the wings that we do struggle with. So, and hopefully the team can address those needs, but I don't know, it's
we're going to get our wish, because we play the Rockets. Like I said, we play the Celtics coming up. We play the Pacers coming up, the Hawks and the Bulls, all teams that they've been whipping on us all year. We played them like literally in the next 20 days, within the next 20 days. So that's what's up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So before I chime in on that, shout out to my guy Prezi. I appreciate you being here. My official whiskey supporter over there, knows his stuff. Gonna definitely grab a drink when we're in the same spot. But here's what I want to say to that is the way we're playing now is different than the way that we played when we played a lot of those teams. Like if you look at the like contributions on both ends, like even you can look and say Jalen Brunson's defense has gotten significantly better at this point in the season than it was in the start of the season. Like these last few games, not only is he hounding his guy, but he's getting steals, and which are leading to assists, which are leading to open, court, buckets. And you're seeing all of our guys contributing a little bit more. Mikal Bridges is less of a hot one night, cold the next night. Like he's been pretty consistent over these last few games. Everybody has started to click and contribute, from our starters to our bench unit. So to me, it's a different like spot for our team than what we were at before. I think we are playing different, and I think we're going to see that over these next few games when we play these teams. Because if you look, like, yes, we're talking about, oh, but this team, that team, and that team. Well, yeah, but Boston's not the juggernaut that we first thought that they were going to be in the East. We're going to talk about seedings in a little bit, but they're only one game ahead of us now, so things are starting to change for them as well. And when you look across the board, like our play is getting better game in and game out. And this is with Karl Anthony Towns still dealing with the finger issues and having a huge problem from three right now. Like he's not, the same sharpshooter that he was before he had that, finger injury. So for me, I'm hopeful because I think that it's going to be a different outcome when we go up against the Rockets coming up and when we go up against Boston coming up. I think it's going to be very, very different. There's a reason that Boston does not have two players in the All-Star game this year, because both of them have not risen to the occasion that Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns have.
Yeah. The one thing I do want to add on to that is like what you're saying is exactly what I did see last night, was a team that got punched and then we learned how to punch back, versus in earlier parts of the season, it was kind of like, all right, so what happened to that team that was there? Like, these guys hit and then you guys didn't punch them back. And then now it's like, all right, whatever, I guess we'll figure it out next game. And that's not the same team that's, that we've seen recently, but especially last night, because they came back and they had an 8-point lead and they were like, all right, well, we're going to have to come back and figure out how to play our brand of basketball. And that's exactly what they did, even though they knew what their weakness was, and they counteracted that. So, kudos to them. And hopefully, like you said, we go forward with these guys that we're supposed to be better than. Supposed to be better than us, but.
Well, if I can add to that too, like around Christmas, we were playing good basketball then, but then that's when we started going into our little troubles too. So we have been having ups and downs through the season, but our record is our record. We still like the third best team in the East. We very close to being the second best team in the East. You know what I'm saying? So, but the critiques are valid, regardless of what, I'm saying. The Knicks are not the perfect team. They do have the problems, so we just have to see how they address it. I don't, the trade deadline's coming up too, so I don't know if there'll be any moves like that, because I kind of like how we're playing, but we obviously, there's something missing. I can't put my finger on it, but I'm not sure if it's worth making a big move like that. But our team is who they are, man. So,
Yeah, and here's the thing, though. I want to look at the last few games and say, can we really not realize that Josh Hart has unlocked a whole new level in his game? No, he definitely has. Like he is doing things that, are far better than we could have ever expected from Josh Hart. The assertiveness he's having when driving to the basket, like he knows when to take, his player to the hoop, and he's unlocking different things in his game, as is even Jalen Brunson. Jalen Brunson found a way to put up 30 points last night. And typically when Jalen Brunson puts up big numbers like that, he's usually at the 7 to 8 or maybe even 9 assists. But putting up 30 points and 15 assists last night show that Jalen Brunson's playing a whole different way. Like he's playing effective in his shot. Like he took 16 shots, made 10 of them, and then had 15 assists. So, in my opinion, they are starting to play different. They are starting to show different things. Karl Anthony Towns is finding ways to contribute even with missing his 3-point shots. So for me, I think it's going to be different. And I think that when we watch them play against Houston coming up and we watch them play against Boston, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think we're going to see something completely different. And to Sherwin's point, he said Boston has 5 potential All-Stars. Yeah, potential is a great term, but only one of them is on the All-Star team. So that doesn't really matter. It is what it is. Numbers, who's there is who's there, not who we think is potentially an All-Star. But I don't know.
Jaylen Brown didn't make it? I thought he made it.
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't even see the list. The All-Star reserves. I'm looking at it now.
All-Star. I don't think he did.
Yeah, he made it. Celtics added second All-Star with reserves announcement. Yeah, he's a reserve. Yeah.
Oh, because they announced the okay.
Just an hour ago. So it's
okay. Yeah, I didn't know they announced it yet.
Yeah,
so that's good. Good for him.
Yeah, but either way, still they got two.
Yeah,
we got two
so exactly.
Tatum didn't make it.
So
who else made it though? I'm trying.
Wait, hold on. Tatum didn't make it. No way.
I don't know why it's a secret. I'm like Googling it.
Oh no, they're there. They're there. They both got it.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, he's a starter. Tatum's a starter.
Tatum's a starter.
No, he's not.
No,
yeah, he is. Yeah, he is.
It says yes. Tatum reserves.
Who was the starter? Oh yes, it was Donovan, Giannis, and Tatum. Yeah, Donovan, Giannis.
Yeah, and Tatum. Yeah.
With Karl Anthony Towns.
With Towns and Brunson. So yeah, they both made it.
Yeah, so I didn't see that they had announced the reserves today. So congratulations, Jalen.
Tyler Hero is a All-Star. Is that valid? Do you think he should be an All-Star?
I haven't been watching.
He's been playing good. He's been playing good. And they're still competing even with Jimmy Butler like sitting out and not playing and having mad attitude, and they're still competing. So and that's pretty much due to Tyler Hero stepping up. So it is what it is.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so that was those 5 games. Let's talk about last night's game. Like we already started. For me, the impressive thing was the assists by Jalen Brunson. But also, like I said the last few days, was the contributions from many players. Like seeing everyone kind of contribute was impressive to me, and seeing even the bench put up some numbers, because there were times where we were like, oh, there was 9 points from the bench and they all came from Miles McBride. But last night there was 27 points from the 4 guys that came off the bench, which was very much needed, and seeing McBride have kind of that new confidence where he came and he shot that really horrible shot and everyone was like, oh, what was that all about? And then he comes right back and he drives it and then he hits the 3 right after that. Like, there's an assertiveness that we're starting to see in Miles McBride that impresses me. So what were your thoughts on that game and your takeaways, Apollo?
And you're talking about the Kings game?
No, the Nuggets game last night.
Oh, then the thing. So Deuce, I've said it before, like he's probably inching towards like the best contract, one of the best contracts in the NBA, because of just the value off the bench that he does bring. He's just very beyond his years, and just how he just views the game and how he responds to how the game is. There's times where he's up and down with his shot, but his demeanor never changes. He always gets into the right spot defensively. He takes good shots. He doesn't take ridiculous shots. Like, a lot of guys, they take a lot of shots, but Deuce finds a way to take shots, and they're all good shots. You know what I'm saying? Every now and then he'll take a shot. I'm like, but that's like once a week. You know what I mean? So usually he's in a position where he's making the right shot. And, Deuce is Deuce, man. He has his own chant for a reason. You know what I mean? Everybody hears him. You hear the Deuce no matter what arena. I used to think that it was only certain arenas, but literally every single time
Oh yeah.
Deuce is in the game and he shoots a shot, you hear Deuce all throughout the arena. So you know what I mean. He's made an impression, of course, on the fans, but last night he came through at the right moments and just making the right plays defensively, like he's always done. And you know, that's my guy, man. I love Deuce. Love Deuce.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Eru?
Well, I thought the Knicks did a good job of doing like what they're supposed to do. Like say like you mentioning Miles McBride. Miles McBride you know is really good at getting into a spot and getting that jump shot, you know, getting, you know, to where he can shoot it. So I just thought he did a good job at it, but not just him. Everybody did a good job of getting to the spots where they could be successful in. And you know, I got to throw something at the Nuggets. I felt like the Nuggets pissed away that game. The second half of that game, especially the fourth quarter, when they were trying to come back, they kept trying to like force 3-point shots, and they were trying to do it through Jokic. You know what I'm saying? So I was pissed at the end of the game. You know, the way that they, you know, attempted to try to come back on the Knicks. You know, but that's a testament to what the Knicks were doing to them. The Knicks were whipping their behind so bad that they were panicking. They were like literally they had no answer how they were going to get buckets or how they were going to do anything. They were panicking to the point where the only answer was to have Jokic standing by the 3-point line, chucking 3-point shots. You know what I'm saying? So that's a testament to the game plan from the get-go from Tom Thibodeau, just the aggressiveness with the players from the beginning also. And then just like I said, like guys are getting, or what today, like I mean last night, they were getting to their spots and like just doing their job. Everybody was kind of just doing what they're supposed to do. And when the Knicks do that and the ball is moving, we play really good basketball, man. And Denver had nothing but good things to say, man. They was tipping their hat. They were saying things that you don't really see teams say. Even after the game, after we won the game, like they were quick to turn around and go to our bench to give us congratulations and stuff, because you know that's a sign of sportsmanship. They said, listen, y'all whipped us at home, and then now you whipped us in your house, you know. And they immediately turned around and started giving pounds. So, you know, kudos to the Nuggets, man. But the Knicks did that. You know, the Knicks did that to them. So I was impressed last night.
Yeah, that's a testament to the coach.
I agree with I agree with everything on your post on your take, except for one thing. All of our guys did contribute, which was beautiful to watch. But if you haven't been watching the Nuggets this season, that would be why you thought they were kind of pissing the game away by trying to come back with the 3-pointer from Jokic. But they mentioned it yesterday, and I checking to confirm, but Jokic's 3-point shooting percentage is like 47% or something ridiculous this season. Like his so he would be, I'm looking at StatMuse right now, and it says that his 3-point percentage is 47.2. So they were actually going through their best bet to get, the buckets that they needed from the 3-point line, because he's shooting an astronomically high number from 3. So that wasn't them throwing the game away. That was them trying to put the game away.
I get that, but if you watch the highlights, they weren't running plays really. Like Jokic, a lot of times he was just throwing it up there. Like he would get it and he would just kind of like throw it up, So they weren't really like doing.
That's the weird thing is that typically works for them. Like that typically works for them is give Jokic the ball and he will score. Like typically when they're running the offense, it's when Jamal Murray has the ball in his hand. That's when they are typically running like a play for Jamal, and then he gets, dishes it off and he goes. But when anyone else really has the ball, it's get it to Jokic, or if Gordon is open in the paint. But a lot of times that's what they do is they run, the offense through Jokic. So in my opinion, they were trying to put the game away by giving him the rock to shoot from 3 because they expected us to not be able to stop it. But either way,
the Knicks stopped and they looked horrible trying to do that. It looked ridiculous to me.
Yeah,
So
but I mean, we've also matched up well with them recently. Like in general, like I don't remember the last time we actually lost to. Did we lose to them last year? I know we beat them the last time we played them last year, I believe.
I think we smoked them once too. I think they beat us, and then we smoked them also once last year.
Last year. So it was probably 1-1 last year and 2-0 this year. So it's, I think Tibbs has figured out, even with Towns, even without Towns, we were doing well against Jokic. So there's something about what Tibbs and this unit has figured out that, we can actually beat that team, because we have two completely different teams at this point, and we still beating the team that won a championship within the last 2 years.
You know what was ridiculous too? I like just to throw more ridiculously out there, that this guy Peyton Watson was guarding Cat at certain points of the game too, which I thought was totally ridiculous.
Foul trouble, because Jokic couldn't stay out of foul trouble, and that's why he was really ineffective. The first half, I think first quarter he had 3 fouls in the first quarter.
But they don't have anybody other than Watson to guard Cat. Cat was just doing what he wanted to do, like just running around, getting rebounds and laying it up, especially down the stretch. It was kind of, I don't know. I feel
like they were just trying to give him a chance.
Like if you I do watch alongs for the games. If you watch the fourth quarter and my comments and stuff like that, I was like on fire, because I love basketball. So like, I don't watch Denver like that, but just seeing them like that, in the moment, I just was like, wow, what is happening here? Like, to me, it looked like it was imploding.
Shout out to Steven in the building. We appreciate you blowing up the chat. Great takes over there. That's hilarious.
He was at the game last night too, so he was in the building.
He said Jokic runs like it hurts his body to move. Facts. Shout out to DeRoss. We have taken a step and became a team. Next step, a killer mental, then championship mode. So shout out to regular Joe. Tibbs seems to have the blueprint for Jokic. Can't recall the last time Jokic has dominated a game against us. We've had their number for the last few years. Facts. So before we bring up some guests, I do want to say it was pretty impressive. To me, you see the players of actual caliber and who are actually confident in their game by how they present themselves in a post game. Like, you get some of those bitter, ridiculous players that always want to act like, oh, we just sucked. That's why they did good. But Jokic, former MVP, one of the best in the league, had great things to say about the Knicks after that loss. He said that he thinks that we are top 5 candidates in the NBA for the title this year. And that's huge. That's huge from someone who, has the skill sets that he does, who plays hard like he does, who has gotten the awards that he's gotten. And so it's good to hear those kind of things being said about our team. We're about to bring up some friends for the next part of the chat, but I want to, for my whiskey friends out there, this is what I'm going to be sipping on. But first, what do y'all got in your glass?
I feel like I'm messing up the class project. I'm drinking salsa by itself right now.
I'm not gonna be mad at you, bro. I'm not gonna be mad. Yeah. I'm not. Oh, well, see, that's why. That's what happens.
What about you, Apollo? What you got?
Man, I don't have any whiskey or anything. I got tequila. I've been on my no additives, 100% agave tequila wave. So I've been trying a few tequilas. I've been on Espolón. I really like Espolón Reposado, but right now I have Altos, 100% agave,
nice.
Reposado tequila, and that is what I've been testing out. It's pretty good. It tastes pretty
nice. Good. I like some tequila. So this is one of my favorite brands. This is Four Roses. This is a single barrel, and it's from it's a pick from a store named Kenny's here in Florida. But Four Roses is one of those brands that I can put my stamp of approval from everything from limited releases to something you pick up off the shelf. And shout out to my homegirl, Steph at Dope Soul, because her and I connected with our love for Four Roses. So this is just a great, great whiskey. This one right here is 56, so it's 102.8 proof, straight bourbon. And what I love about whiskey is that it doesn't have a whole bunch of sugar and carbs and all that stuff in it. So when I'm on something like keto or the carnivore diet, I can still have it. Obviously, because any alcohol can mess with your metabolism, you got to be sparing. It says don't just be chugging like 8 to 10 ounces of whiskey a day and think that you're going to lose any weight. But being able to be on the show and still have something on the nightcap is fun. So shout out to Regular Joe and Prezi for their confirmation of how good Four Roses is. And yes, Ebony, check it out. Ebony, when I'm there, I'm going to be in town the weekend of February 6th, 7th, and 8th. So I will be there for that Boston game. And me and Eru are going to link up for a drink at American Whiskey near the spot near Madison Square. And if you're available to meet us and come hang, that would be dope. And I think that towards the end of halftime, I'm gonna try to get Eru to head on over with me because Tony Tony from Twitter is gonna be doing something at Diamante's or whatever. Not too far from there. So spend the first half just chilling without craziness at American Whiskey and then head over.
Yeah, shout out to Knicks Omni fan too, because they're collaborating with Thanos.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah, collaborating together.
Then we'll definitely head over then at around halftime and go support that. But yeah, so
hopefully I get to see Hero in March, man.
No, I'm
that'd be awesome.
For that Charlotte game. I'm definitely trying to plan it now. So I'll let you guys know what tickets I get and whatever. Because the Knicks play back to back that weekend. So I'll
they
be
do
for the first game. Yeah, they play back to back. They play the 20th and they play the 19th also.
Who they play the 19th?
I think San Antonio, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
All right. So we're gonna continue. Ebony, I see you in the chat.
Well, I was gonna ask what was the notes on the roses? What is it?
So I haven't had this one in quite a while. So once I tap back into it, each single barrel is different. So a little bit later in the show, we'll talk about the notes. Okay. But Ebony, I see you in the chat. If you got time, holla, come on up, hang out. Shout out to Shoquan. He said, yo, our boy Josh Hart got snubbed from the All-Star game. I kind of agree. Alan Hahn just made a tweet about, the fact that he didn't get in there. There's some question marks about players that got there when he didn't. It would have been nice to see him there, but it didn't happen. So it is what it is. All my people definitely have to come through. Yeah, if you're going to come to American Whiskey, let us know. If not, if you're going to be at Diamante's, we'll meet you there. But here we go. So if you guys can, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. If you can, post this on Twitter. Let's pack out the building. We got some friends from our Nick of Time family that are about to come up and talk some of the next topics with us. We got our guy Lee Escobedo and my guy Fritz chilling in the back. So we're going to pull them on up. What up? What up? What up? What up? What up? What up?
Well, hold on. I got you, Lee.
What's good, family? Man, I'm not sipping on anything except for sparkling water, but I am.
Hey, it's together. I'm sipping on some Polar here.
I am tripping on some shrooms right now, so let's see how this goes.
Oh man,
excellent.
What's going on, Fritz?
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on?
What up? What up, bro? How are you?
Doing all right. Enjoying the conversation. Enjoying
good. I definitely want to pick your brain on some stuff. The first thing we're going to talk about, I asked my guys, I let them know, what topics I had, what their thoughts were on what they wanted to talk about. And one of the topics that they brought up was if the Knicks bench continue to play at this level, first, how good can this team be? And second, does that mean we stay put when it comes to this trade deadline coming up? I've read a few articles with speculations on both sides. Some that are questioning, if we will stay put and believing that we're not going to, and that we will make at least one move. And then some that are pretty sure that we're not going to make a move and then look a little bit later in March at the buyout market. So I'll go with you firstly. What are your thoughts on if this bench continues to play at this level? How good can this team be? How far can we go? And does what we've seen recently from this bench imply that we might not do anything by the trade deadline? What are your thoughts?
First up, Josh Hart should have been All-Star, in my opinion, over Pascal Siakam. It's hard not to give the Celtics more than one All-Star when they're as good as they are. Jaylen Brown, statistically, Hart leads them in every single category and metric, but points. So I think there's an argument there. Maybe Hart should have deserved it, but I'm not going to argue about Jaylen Brown getting it. Pascal Siakam, I think the inconsistencies for him this season, there was a stretch there in December where he looked god-awful, especially on the offensive side. And honestly, but both ends of the ball. I thought Josh Hart's been super consistent, maybe our most consistent player all around for the season. So I wish he would have got it. But shout out Alperen Gunn and Evan Mobley, first-time All-Stars, 2 guys I wrote about their rookie year for various publications, been high on. The bench, man, I have been championship since last year. The moment we got Cat, literally 5 minutes later, I tweeted out Dynasty because I thought that was going to win us multiple championships. Y'all know how I am, man. I'm jumping out the damn window down here in Dallas, Texas, about my Knicks. I don't think the bench needs to have any adjustments made. I was arguing with Skip Salas on Twitter for the last month. He kept posting that we need another weapon on the bench, blah, blah. I was like, bro, go back and look at the last 3 champions. Each champion only had 1 double-digit point per game player on the bench. Only 1. Whether that was what's the guy from Golden State who's in Washington, Jordan Poole, or if it was Bruce Brown for Denver, or Al Horford last year for the Celtics. All of them only had 1 guy that was 10 points per game or higher. And none of them were like 19 or 25. It was around 10, 12, 11. The Knicks had Deuce Bride at 10. I don't think we need any other pieces. I think on a good night, Shaman can give you 6. If that means 2 threes, awesome. I think Campaign some nights can give you 8. Some nights he can give you 28. Depends on how hot his 3-point shot is. Pressure Chua always down for offensive rebounds, backdoor cuts, slashing to the basket. He can give you a solid 4, 5 points off the bench. To me, the only move we need to make is using that extra 15th roster spot. Fritz knows what I'm about to say, and bring up TJ Warren. Give TJ Warren a full NBA deal, the lowest you can, because Leon Rose is a finesser like that. And let TJ Warren see if he can maybe every now and then he's swapped out for Shamet and let him have some burn in the regular rotation, kind of be that 0.5, 10th man on the roster. Otherwise, man, we are cooking. The bench is starting to gain traction. I think that mix-up that he did, having Karl-Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges share most of the time with the bench, has really helped them thrive and gain some unity, opposed to putting all the bench pieces out there at once, which I thought was kind of an asinine move and was surprised Tibbs did that at all, where everyone's just trying to fight and get some type of rhythm when they've been sitting on the pine. Doesn't make sense. But he's bringing them in now earlier at the 4-minute mark opposed to the 2. Man, Deuce Bride is looking to be a really solid option to where he can even run the offense with that bench unit. So I see no moves need to be made. I know I rambled, but I want to make sure I got all my thoughts out there and then send done a shout out. Also, much love, guys. Good to see you on the panel.
No, man, that was a great take, man. You know, it's one of those things where some people can see it as a negative that we have some players that can go for 8 or 28 because they're like, oh, we just want to know what we can get. But I think that the strength in Campaign is that he's one of those guys that activates based off of the need. Like he sees what a need is, and goes, oh, okay, I got to step up in this area. You know, like I need to step up here. I need to do this. And that's what makes him then go for those 28 kind of point games. But the games where we don't really need him to do that is the games where you see him just contributing defensively, hustle wise, you know, finding the right player to actually get those buckets. And so I kind of don't see that as a negative, in my opinion, at all, that, you know, he can go for either of those numbers, because I think he does it when the time is right and when we need it for him to step up. And I think he's been, you know, a huge contribution for us off the bench. What are your thoughts, Fritz?
I know personally for me, I like to learn from past experiences. So my past experiences kind of shape how I live my life. So our past experience last year in the postseason kind of scarred me. You know, Knicks came through. We have all the puzzle pieces for a championship. Like Lee says, I think we could probably play with most of the teams in the East. But I think it's kind of a little bit like a house of cards. If one piece goes down, does the whole thing go down? Can we ensure this roster? Could we make sure that if a piece disappears, that we can move forward. So I don't want so I want to use probably 14th, 15th spot. Don't have guys who aren't going to play. Try to use maybe a couple of the second round picks to ensure you have someone who could step in if our rotation piece disappears.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. You know, like I'm impressed with how we've played these last 5 games. You know, I see guys like Precious Achua, you know, like stepping up and really putting up good games. But yeah, it's like the what if is what we have to prepare for. Shout out to my guy Jay from East New York. Appreciate you coming out. Keith Watkins showed up in the building. We got, you know, a bunch of people that have recently just shown up, so I wasn't watching the chat, so I apologize. Appreciate you guys. We got now 168 rocking in the building, so if you can, hit that like button, hit that retweet button, post it on Twitter. We will be having an open panel, so please, in the comments, say, I want to join, so I know that you guys want to join, and then I can put out that link. I don't want to put up the link if no one's going to join, but if you're interested in hopping up, please say that you want to join the open panel at some point, and I will put you guys in that spot. But like, you know, Fritz was saying, what happens if something happens to any of our guys? Like, do we have enough? And I think we do, as long as they are as consistent, like to what it was these last 5 games, you know? Because before these 5 games, we were like, man, there's no contribution from our bench. Now we're like, yo, our bench is killing it. Like, so which one's it going to be for the rest of the season is the great question mark. And before I throw it to the co-hosts, I want to bring up one of my favorite people in all of Knicks universe. Even though we disagree on a few things, I still love her like she's family. Like, one of my favorite people in the world, Miss Ebony, aka Mad Nick fan. And when she's mad, she's still super sweet. So shout out to Ebony. What up?
Yeah. What up, sis? Let's go.
What's up?
Hey, what's up?
Peace.
What's up? Good. How are you?
I'm good. Excited to be up here with you guys.
Likewise. I'm trying to switch this little system to see if I can put you in the highlight spot, but I don't know this well enough. So
probably drag it. Click and drag.
Oh yeah! All right, so I'm gonna let you get your shine on, girl. Right now, we're talking about the bench. These last 5 games, they have contributed immensely. They've played well. They've, you know, showed hustle. And they've been a factor, you know, like last night, I think it was 27 points from the 4 bench players. And Landry Shaman had 0. So that's 27 points from 3 guys. When there was times where we were saying, holy crap, really 9 points from our whole bench? That's not going to win us any games. Now we got 27. So the question is, do you think that if we continue at this level, how good do you think we can be? And does this say that we stay put, or do you think we'll still do something by the trade deadline?
I think, believing what I think about this team and what they've shown us, I believe that we stay put. Honestly, because I don't think they give us anything of value that would be for what the pieces we're asking for, that are available, rather. I don't think we'll get much to make a difference right now. I think our sole point should be patience right now. We need to trade our team for just patience. That's it. The non-Jalen Brunson minutes have looked totally different. It's looked a lot different. And then you see Tibbs trusting the bench earlier, and the bench rewarding Tibbs for doing that. You see the growth of Deuce McBride, who we've asked to get a handle and learn how to run the team. He's shown tremendous confidence on both ends. You know, he's showing that pull up midi is almost automatic right now. So you see campaign, he giveth and taketh, like Clyde would say. But I love his confidence, and he's always aggressive. I love that. Yep. I love that he stays aggressive. So just seeing this team gel, I would want to see more if I'm front office, but I'm not. I get that. And you see the type of ideology on defense that they've been playing right now. is key for a type of rim protector that we're waiting to get healthy. So I just say that Lee, my bro Lee already knows. Free is me. If we could just if we could maybe pull some TJ Warren from the G League squad, or maybe incorporate somebody else from that squad for a couple of minutes, because like we mentioned, the bench and their confidence is through the roof right now.
Yeah.
One maybe our weakness that we're trying to get better at is defense and rebounding. And when we play against the real center,
Yep.
So I'm with just waiting and being patient, because I know it's not going to be the same role for Mitch, and it won't be as much work as people think that he has to do, expend as much energy. So people trying to manifest another injury, he's not doing the same type of roles. It's not going to be all trying to have to erase mistakes when he has the likes of Mikal and OG and Deuce and Shamit, even Campaign, who plays pretty good defense too. So we're just playing. We're playing smart basketball, and I love it. So if you ask
we're gonna let you get your Mitch shine on in a little bit. We got a specific.
I'm not going into Mitch. You asked me what I'm feeling about this team, and just like my brother, I'm gonna be Ron Browse. I'm jumping out the window on this one too.
Hell yeah!
I'm jumping out the window. Contend the time. Let's get this.
Spider-Man.
I love it. I love it. We are gonna have a specific segment dedicated to Mitchell Robinson, specifically because Ebony is on the show, and so we're not gonna talk that yet. But what we are gonna talk is, first, look at the 5 people that I get to share the stage with right now. Okay, I'm gonna say this proudly because I didn't start this, so I have no problem saying it because it doesn't sound prideful or boastful. But it's about the people that are on this stage and the ones that couldn't make it tonight that we still, love immensely. In my opinion, this is one of, if not the best channel for Knicks content. I don't care what anyone else thinks, because in my opinion, if you look at everybody here, we have different takes, we have different perspectives, but all of our perspectives come from not just a love of a certain player or a love of this or a love of that, but a love for the game. And we don't need to have a bunch of yes men or yes women on stage with us for the show to go well, because the host has a whole bunch of people that agree with them 99.9% of the time. And we also don't have to use our disagreements as fights so that we get those drama-filled Knicks fans that want to watch because of the drama. We can actually agree and disagree, but have thoughtful and mindful takes that actually, when we're done with the show, most of us will get in chats and be like, yo, you really made me think differently about that. Like, that's crazy. I never thought of it that way. Or, holy crap, I can't believe you thought that. Like, I didn't even see that. So support this channel. Like my guy Prezi says right here, let's run this channel to 10K subscribers. Let's do that quick. Let's do that by the All-Star break. We're at like 8.4 right now. Retweet this, share this. All it takes is hitting up a few people that you know that you're friends with in the Knicks community and saying, yo, if you're not locked into this channel, do me a favor, subscribe to this. Even if like I wasn't on that, I would want that for this channel, because that's why I actually came to this channel after we closed ours, was because of who and what this was all about. So subscribe, support, show love. I think it's worth it. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. Appreciate all of you guys for being here. Like I said, if you eventually want to come up and share your thoughts, let us know. We will put out that link soon. Shout out to Paula Banner. Appreciate you coming out. First time I've seen you in here, so thank you. But we talked about the bench. So now we're going to talk, some people, I'm going to have Iru give his thoughts on the bench, their players, and if you think we're going to make any changes. And then I'll go to Apollo because it was his question, which means I know he's put a lot of thought into it. So we'll end that topic with Apollo. But Iru, what are your thoughts on how the bench has been playing, and do you think that it's good enough to stay put?
Well, this guy Precious, he was saying that he finally got healthy. He feels healthy. His hamstring was not bothering him and whatever. They said the medical staff has been cracking on him, every time he gets up to jump and stuff like that. So you saw the last couple of games, he had that one fast break dunk where he came up and wow, you know what I'm saying?
Crazy.
So
Yep.
He's feeling confident. So that's the reason why the bench is kind of like, popping again. This guy Deuce too, he was hurt or sick or whatever was wrong with him for a little while too. So he's been looking zippy and confident too. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's a big thing with our bench. But I agree with Fitz and Lee, about the if something goes wrong, like you got to have a contingency plan, and then we have a lot of guys on the roster that just don't play, so like they're useless to us, so I mean, let's say I don't want to throw it out there, but God forbid if we need to call on somebody for an extended period of time, just like last year we lost Julius, but we were able to start Josh and then go down that rabbit hole, and we were able to still function. Even like guys weren't playing well, like the kid that's in Dallas, that we traded to Dallas. I don't even care about his name anymore. But Quentin Grimes, right? Quentin Grimes, we he wasn't playing well. Then we were able to have a bench guy come up and become a starter. So we had that luxury last year. This year we don't really have that luxury. So I mean, it's like at this point now we don't really have the access to really get a major player, and I don't think we do need to get a major player. But it would be nice to get somebody like TJ Warren. I agree with that. TJ Warren would be nice to call up. It would be easy to do that. Also, too, the waiver wire too. Once the waiver wire comes, pops up, if anybody comes free, we're literally the third best team in the East. We could possibly be the second best, after a while. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully some of these players that get waived, if they're good enough or whatever, accept the invitation to the Knicks if the Knicks extend it to them, because we kind of do need like an extra body around just in case that we need them,
Yeah. All right. Apollo, I know you've been waiting.
I mean, so of course, like you said, I posed the question. And I pose it because I don't really see, kind of what you alluded to, E-Rules. I don't really see many options for us to make any trades that are going to bring us someone who's going to even be in a rotation. Unless you trade a Mitchell Robinson, and I think that's the only time you would be able to get someone who would be a part of a rotation piece. But I'm not 100% sure the Knicks want to do that, because if the Knicks wanted to trade Mitch, they would have, and at this point, they probably would have let some more information out about how far along he is. You know what I mean? So teams can feel more comfortable trading for him. So it doesn't necessarily seem like they want to trade Mitch at this point, but I think they're just also still trying to see what it's just getting too close to the deadline for me when it comes to the Mitch situation. So outside of Mitch, we don't have the pieces to really go get a rotation guy.
Yeah.
I mean, you can think of anyone that's on somebody else's bench, but I mean, let's be honest. Like Tibbs he's not really going to just trust anyone off of somebody's bench. He's going to have to get somebody in here who he can trust to give valuable minutes to. So my point of posing that question is the way our bench has been playing, they have to play this way for the rest of the year. That is what we need them to do. Not only is it that their job, you know what I mean? These guys are NBA players, but if they don't play this well, we're going to struggle like we were not too long ago. So, and that's just my point of view of how important it is. And you've seen Tibbs go to these guys a little bit more. Maybe it's due to that reason. Maybe because recently Tibbs has been laying off a little bit on these guys in the minutes. If you check the minutes, they haven't really gone too crazy as much as I don't know if someone said something to him or anything, but the minutes for the starters have been a little bit lower, and the bench pieces have been getting a lot more minutes and valuable time. So maybe that's the reason why. So, we don't have many options is what I'm saying. So I really think that we have to lock in on this bench, and they have to continue to play at the level they've been playing, because I don't think there's a savior outside of Mitchell Robinson coming back and being who we really know he can be when he's healthy.
Phil, may I debate a few points?
Yeah, of course.
I want to reflect mostly on what Fritz said when he started his argument for why he thinks there should be some kind of move made before the deadline. I do want to say that when you're looking at starting fives in the NBA during the postseason, if you have an injury to anyone in your starting five, you can pretty much eliminate your chances at a championship. There's no like equal player on the bench is trying to come in and fill that role. So if OG goes down or Cat goes down or Brunson goes down, you pretty much just call that postseason a wash because we're out of it. It doesn't matter who's on the bench to come in and fill their shoes. We've seen teams at the Bucks win when Dante DiVincenzo went down. DiVincenzo was a very different player than he is now, much less of a role. Or OG, a very, very young OG on the Toronto Raptors who got injured and Toronto was still able to win without him. Those type of like Deuce and Bride roles, if Deuce went down, yeah, maybe we need someone to step in. That could be Kolek, that could be Payne, who knows? But if anyone in the starting five goes down, like Randall last year, it's a wash. We're done. We're cooked. But I think there's enough on the bench really to move someone, like give Shamet more minutes if Cameron Payne gets injured. I think we have enough to sustain that, including the rookies as well, and Sims, who to play a little bit of spot opportunity. So I just want to add some context to that point of view, because I think it's important for all of us to acknowledge if any of these guys in the starting five get injured in the postseason, it's not happening.
And my bad, but just to elaborate a little bit more on that point is, you mentioned the OG on that Toronto team. When, if you're talking about that same exact series versus the Warriors, when KD went out, that was pretty much their chances. And then Clay went out, and then that was it. And that's, if we're being honest, that's how Toronto got that championship. You know what I mean? So, but just to elaborate a little bit more on that's a great point. Great point.
All right. So I'm give my takes, and it's a little bit different than your guys. Because I do think our bench is quite impressive right now. I do think that Precious Achiuwa is stepping into a new form as well. Like, he got better last year when he joined us, and I think now it's going to go to a new level. And so for me, when I see people say, "Oh, well, let's package Precious," that drives me nuts. Like, for me, we have died not just for like stars to play with us, but we have died to have players that love this city and want to be on our team. And when you see guys like Precious Achiuwa and Cam Payne come off the bench, not knowing if they're going to play 15, 20, or 8 minutes, but yet they still give the same effort and show the same love for being a New York Knick, that's not something I'm willing to let go of. That's not something I want to trade. Like, you can't train somebody to love playing for their organization. You can teach them different skill sets. You can teach them your plays. You can't give them a heart for your city. And Jimmy Butler has proved that in Miami. Like, you can't, just because you're a great player, mean that you're going to love and play for your organization and your city and put on for them the way that those guys do. So for me, I'm not touching that. And with the Mitch thing, we're going to talk about that a little bit later, because I have tons of thoughts on that. And none of them are hatred towards Mitch, but concerns with where we're at. But one trade talk that I saw, which I'm totally for, yes, I know that Sherwin, I know he's in his final year, but he's the kind of player that I think is going to contribute regardless of whether it's a contract year or not. And I know that he wants to come back, and I think that he's going to put on for us even more so because he wants that contract with us. He doesn't want that contract with someone else. So yes, thank you for proving my point of a player that fights for where he wants to be, even in his contract year, because he wants to be back. So thank you for helping me with that point. What I wanted to say was the one trade that I saw that I would be for, and this goes back to what we were talking about, Eru and Apollo, that when we play teams that have good wings, we struggle, especially when our bench comes in. Like, we struggle with maintaining those like bigger wings, such as Houston and those kind of teams. I loved the trade that I saw, a straight up 1-for-1 of for Javonte Green for Jericho Sims. I'm sorry. Jericho Sims is not even playing right now. That's fine. You could dislike it, Lee. I don't really care. Go back and watch what he did to us last season. Go back and watch what he did to us last season. And he's a vet. He has experience. He's not going to be one of those guys that gets traded and is like dying to get 20, 30 minutes in a game. Like he's going to be content with what he gets, and he can contribute at that wing position. I think he can contribute more than Sims can sitting on a bench doing nothing. Like at the end of the day, we still have Huck Porty if we need a backup center. And I think that if Mitch does come back, even more of a reason why we don't need Sims. And I believe that Green would be a better fit, in my opinion, whether Lee thumbs down or not. Like it's a better thing, in my opinion. Here's the thing. I'm not going to, when it comes to a Sims trade, I'm not going to listen to Lee because Lee thought that Sims was going to be like Tom Thibodeau's like greatest like achievement, when he started getting minutes, and all of a sudden he's there with like his mustache like sitting on the bench every single game with 0 minutes. Like
you don't want to talk to me about Sims.
What'd you say?
I said you definitely don't want to talk to me then about Sims.
Here's the thing. I liked Sims before it was cool to like Sims, but he is expendable right now on this roster. Like he just is.
I give you that.
I agree with that.
He definitely is expendable. If we could get more value, I'm all for that. But I also noticed that he's a good piece, defense and rebounding. If we stop looking at his offensive game, that's a decent person to be able to put in a couple of minute stretch, especially if you need a defensive specialist type of vibe.
He is, but you can see from him not playing anymore.
Yeah,
you can see from him not playing anymore that I think he's going to get traded.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised also, because Ian Begley did mention that he wants to play. And Knicks did pick up his 4th-year option this year. So this is his money year. So he wants a long-term contract. He wants playing time to prove he has that. So do the Knicks do the Knicks thing and be nice and send you on your way like they did Obi? Or are they going to sit him on the bench just in case for the playoffs? So I don't know. It could be that he could be moved just because he's in a contract here and he wants time.
I gotta have a chance to counter what Phil said earlier about Sims and Javonte Green. Jericho Sims, I agree with all y'all. Definitely think he's being shopped. I think it's very likely that he's now on this roster after the trade deadline. But I think the most likely situation is we trade him along with picks, 2nd-round picks, just to get off his contract, and we don't get a player back. So we can go even further below the first apron. That I think is the most likely strategy. Without Googling, do any of you guys know how tall Javonte Green is?
6'4".
Not tall enough for what we need.
He's like 6'5".
6'4". Another
6'4". I thought he was 6'5".
Another undersized wing is not what I think this team needs. We need actual size, 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". To me, there's no reason to have him playing over Landry Shamet. It doesn't make any sense. When Shamet's already acclimated to our schemes and the way that Tibbs plays, and he's playing excellent defense. I don't see any need for Javonte Green. I would rather trade Sims for just reduced cap space and let Sims go somewhere where he can really thrive. Let's not forget, in my opinion, I'm happy to debate this. I think he's our best screen setter. I also think he's our second best offensive rebounder. And I think he's our, maybe right now, the best rim protector we have. I mean, hell, he's 7th right now in rim protection efficiency. So you're arguing with stats if you're arguing with me. That's all I'm saying.
Lee, don't forget that perimeter defense.
Yes. No, yeah, I think he's our, when it comes to digs and hedges, he's the best on the roster as well in the big man spot for sure.
I'm gonna be honest. I think at this point, they would much rather let him go somewhere where he can be productive, because I don't think they know how much they can guarantee he'll play. Because if Mitch comes back and Mitch is good, you'll never see him again for the rest of the year.
All right, so here's some questions for you. So I was reading an article, and they popped up 2 other names for Sims because, like, do I think the Javonte Green is going to happen? No, because in that same article, they said that if Sims doesn't get traded now, like you said, Lee, they'd probably package some picks to get off of him so that in March, they can look at the buyout market and have a little more finances to be able to look for someone if they need someone to contribute in March based off of if Mitch doesn't come back fully healthy or if someone gets injured or if they just see that they need to add something to the bench that they can. But they also listed out a few other names that could possibly be done in a Jericho Sims trade, including Larry Nance Jr. From the Hawks and Torrey Craig from the Chicago Bulls. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, Larry Nance makes like 11 mil.
Okay.
So it's probably a larger trade they were talking about. Yeah.
That has to involve Mitch.
And Phil, real quick, I wanted to say, according to Jalen Brunson, we already got a 6'5" power forward. We don't need another. He was saying that about Josh Hart. He called him a 6'5" power forward.
Whoa, hold on. Were you guys aware that Kevin McCullough played his first game for West?
Yes, I was. I was watching it.
He looks good.
Yep. The defense is there.
All righty. Okay. I don't know what's going on with my case. There we go. Yeah. Anyway, I've been wondering what the heck has been going on with this guy all year. I've just seen him in street clothes. I know he's another wing. I know he was hurt, but I'm just putting that out there. I don't want to jump out any windows just yet.
Yeah.
Not for nothing though. He's been the one that Dadier have been the one that I've been most intrigued about because I remember I don't follow college basketball like that anymore. But I remember hearing what they were saying about Kevin McCullough, how he's a dog on both ends, how he's a hard worker and this and that. And when you have people with work ethic and they want to play both ends, normally it works out. They carve a lane in the NBA somehow.
Yeah.
So that's
especially for Tibbs.
Yeah, exactly. That's another guy, and he's not shy. I was watching him today. He's not shy.
Yeah. Yeah, he's also pretty unique. He's also pretty unique because he actually has size, and he plays multiple positions, so he can play backup point guard, shooting guard, small forward, and it tells so much how the experts don't know anything. Because I know last week James Edwards said he didn't expect him to play the entire year.
Yeah, I heard the same.
Wow.
I heard.
Wow.
Yeah.
He said he was willing to bet that he doesn't play for the entire year.
Wow. That didn't age well.
No.
All right. So we talked about the bench. We talked about, Jericho Sims, possible trade, whatever. Now this is the time for Ebony to shine. All right. This is the Mitchell Robinson conversation. Like I've said many times, for anybody who can't take any criticism without thinking you hate somebody, I've loved Mitchell Robinson since he became a Knick. And I've seen the growth of Mitchell Robinson. I think he's an amazing player. I think, yes, there's some things that I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, his butterfinger hands when he catches a pass underneath sometimes. But overall, you can't beat his rebounding offensively, and you can't beat his defensive presence in the paint. Those are two things that are elite when it comes to Mitchell Robinson. Here's my concerns, okay? In December, Tom Thibodeau said he's progressing well. We expect him to be back and playing, with the team by mid to end of January. Now we're here at the end of January, and Tibbs is saying, hey, there's no progression, no setbacks, but he's still not practicing. Once he starts practicing, and then he'll start taking contact, and we'll see how it goes. So it went from he was going to practice and start playing with us by the end of January. Now we're at the end of January. He's saying there's no setbacks. Well, obviously there's setbacks. We're at the point that you said he was going to be back with the team playing. You can't say no setbacks and then say we'll see how it goes in February. So my concern is that time frame continues to seem to get pushed back a little more and a little more and a little more, and it's starting to concern me on when that's going to actually be, because I would want it to be now, but now I'm starting to think if we see him before March, I would be super surprised if we saw him before March, and that only gives a month of playing time before the playoffs. My second concern is that, yes, I understand he got re-injured because of Joel Embiid's stupid play, not because of just another injury happening. However, I got into an accident years ago, okay? And it did not matter that I got rear-ended by an ignorant, drunk driver. Like, it doesn't matter how the injury to my neck and back were caused. They were caused. And my neck and back have had issues since, because it's never going to be the same after that injury. So it doesn't matter to me how the injury came, because every time I say, like, he's a big man who has been injured, and big men and injuries like that tend to be a problem throughout their career. They're like, yeah, but it was because of Joel Embiid. I don't care how it happened. It's still something that's concerning. A big man of his height, his weight, that has had to have foot surgery and has had injuries, that have plagued him a little bit. So that's concerning. And then lastly, for me, what I said earlier about like Precious and Cam, their desire to be a Knick and to play in that uniform, and to see how Cat has come out of his shell like as a whole new person ever since he became a Knick. And then to see responses like Mitchell Robinson's to that person on Instagram or Twitter, where they said, you're up to be traded. And he said, I don't really care. Like, it doesn't matter to me. Like, that bothers me. That makes me go, dang, bro. Like, the team has kept you around. They've been wanting you to come back. The guys are speaking highly of you about, wanting your return. And then you say something like, you don't care if you get traded from the Knicks. Like, that to me makes me go, yo, that puts a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth. So, Ebony, I'm going to wait on you because I know you got a whole gospel of whatever, to talk about when it comes to that. So I'm going to go with Apollo first on those takes of what I said about Mitch, and give me your thoughts on those things that I said. And before you do, shout out to my guy, Nickinator, one of the freaking OGs of this whole thing. Appreciate you, my guy, for coming out and supporting. It's nothing but love, so thank you.
What's up, Primo?
So I have been a part of the crew who said, listen, Joel Embiid is the reason why this guy got, hurt, which, I just, but you bring up a great point that if you get into an accident, it doesn't matter how the accident happened, your body sustained an injury, and it takes a while for it to get back to normal, if it ever does. So that's a great point. So, I mean, I can't, if we didn't need Mitch right now, it would be a completely different conversation. So I feel like we gotta see what we can get out of him. And I feel like if we were in a position where we didn't think we were close to being a championship team, they probably would try to just move him. You know what I mean? But I think because they're close, they're like, listen, like, we might be able to make something happen. We don't know what can happen this year. You don't know what other team can have a big injury. So, yeah, you make a great point when it comes to how he got hurt, but he's needed right now. A lot of times, like I said, when I watched that third quarter last night, they just kept attacking the basket. You know what I mean? And they just kept going. And that's the way Mitch protects the basket is something that this current team really at least wants to see what it looked like with Cat and all of those guys. So
yeah,
that's just me. I can't say that I just want to get rid of Mitch. And I can't say that I can't trust him to get healthy. but it's such a need right now that you don't want to just jump to make that rash decision, in my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna throw it to Fritz. What's your thoughts, Fritz?
My thoughts are mixed. I think there's various levels to this conversation. I think the first thing comes down to is Cat exclusively a center? So if he's exclusively a center, you need 8 backup minutes. And if Mitch's primary responsibility is those 8 backup minutes, I'd probably trade Cat. I'd probably trade Mitchell Robinson if someone will give me good value for him. If it's those 8 minutes, if we're talking about mixing Mitchell Robinson with Cat at the same time, then that's a larger conversation. But if you're talking about just covering those 8 minutes, I think I can put $14 million to better use than Mitchell Robinson for 8 minutes.
That's from me. I totally agree with that. Like
That's a great take. All right. So since you gave that horn, I'll throw it to you, Eru.
Well, Mitchell Robinson, I have so many pods dedicated to him, just talking about him, because like there's been so many different points of his Knicks career, because he's been here a while that like to me he's been completely useless. You know what I'm saying? Like that the year when we played Atlanta, like he wasn't available. He that season it wasn't him that did anything for us that year. It was Nerlens Noel. Nerlens Noel risked his life the whole season. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just saying that to agree with what Fritz is saying. If you look at it like, okay, we just need 8 minutes to back up Cat, then Mitchell Robinson has a place here. You know what I'm saying? And if we can make a lateral trade and get a Torrey Craig for a Jericho Sims, then fine. You know what I'm saying? Just to have that veteran guy on the bench that you can trust to give minutes to or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But $14 million for this guy that did he get shot? Did the Embiid shoot him? It was this like what's that movie with Tupac and the basketball movie?
Juice.
Above the rim. This is Above the Rim where the guy.
No, Juice.
No, it was Above the Rim. Juice is not a basketball game. Basketball.
Oh, above the rim.
Above the
was
rim.
Pac in Above the Rim?
Yes.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah,
No,
it was above
all
the rim where the guy pulls the gun on and shoots it. Like Embiid didn't do that. He
yeah.
Foot. He grabbed his foot, and then he's been out for like the entire year. Like and he's still not coming back. So right now you can't see my screen. Like he has this like paid partnership with a True or whatever, like that he's like going to give away free tickets, so to somebody the next Boston game in March or whatever. So he's probably not going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? But like like I'm saying, like if he's just going to come off the bench in that context, then it's fine. You know what I'm saying? He has a place here. But if you're thinking about using him, like more than that, then that's like it just. To me, it's just too messy to me, and I'm just tired of talking about him all the time, because people talking about him at like a superhero or whatever, but he really isn't. He really isn't. Like when we went to the playoffs, we played Cleveland. He had a spectacular series against Cleveland, and then Miami. He played against Miami, and I don't even remember him being in the game at all against Miami. You know what I'm saying? So the guy is good. He does have a skill set that we can use, but I just feel like we waste so much breath on this dude. You know what I'm saying? Like he can contribute to the team, yes, but in the proper context. And then also too. When you were talking about whether or not when somebody's mentioned something to him and he was like, "Oh, I don't care," but he also was quoted as saying that, "Oh, I'm just out there doing cardio and all that other stuff," and he keeps putting all these cryptic quotes on social media, whatever. People don't know what he's talking about. Like you know what? I'm sick of this. I'm sick of dudes like that. You know what I'm saying? But aside from that, context wise, if he's going to be used in a certain role, we definitely can use him as a backup center. So if that's the case, then we need to do something with Jericho to try to get somebody else in here. But like I agree with Fitz, man. $14 million, bro. That's we can get a really good player for $14 million. A player that we can use. A wing. We actually can use a wing. And then just use Jericho Sims as that backup center for the 8 minutes. You know what I'm saying?
So a few points before I go to the Mitchell Robinson fan club of Lee Escobedo and Ebony. To your points, First, I don't care if it's Torrey Craig or somebody else. I like Sims. I do not think Sims has a future with the New York Knicks. I don't. Like, unfortunately, like I think that time has played itself out. I think he has grown, but Tibbs has shown, that he uses them and then doesn't, like that's just how it is for him. And when I look and I see how Obi Toppin has really started to come into himself this past year with the Pacers and found a team that really, really rides with him. And he's had a lot better performances over these last 2 months than he has his whole career as a Knick. I want to see that kind of thing for our players. And I don't think that's going to ever happen with Jericho Sims in a Knick uniform. So I think we should do the same thing we did with Toppin. Find him somewhere that can actually use his skill sets, get something that works for us in the interim, but set him up for success. Set him up to be able to play somewhere that he can thrive. Second, to your point, I think Mitch's skill sets are invaluable. You can't put a price tag on those things. However, like Fritz said, a $14 million contract of those skill sets where the guy is playing 60% of the season, you have a gold mine on your hands. That contract at a guy who might see the last month of a season, if that, then it's an overpay. Because you don't know what you're going to get from that guy. So if he is going to be just coming off the bench, then I do think that it's a overpay. If he's going to play some minutes alongside of Towns, that's a different subject. But then there's that question again of coming in this late in the season, can he, after that surgery, handle that amount of, playing time? And my concern would be that either him coming back this late in the season says one of two things. One, his body's not cooperating the way that we wished it would have, and that's why it's taking so long. Or his body is cooperating the way that we wished it would have, but the front office is doing everything that they can, since we're doing well, to hold off, and then him come back and it be, lights out like crazy, for us. My concern is, based off of injury history with big men, that it's more so the first than the second. That's where the concern comes in. And so I would love to see, that kind of, performance of them two together. But I don't know if we're going to see that. Last point, and someone said it, they said, we need to at least see what Mitch is like. I think it was Ani Girl 1. We need to at least see what this will be. And then if it's not anything worth building upon, trade him in the offseason. And so that's fine with me. But my concern is that it's been pushed back this long because of unhealthiness. That is my big concern. I would love it to be that Leon Rose and Tom Thibodeau are just masterminds, and he's been healthy for the last month. But they're like, we haven't needed him, so we're going to shock everybody, come right after the All-Star break. I just don't really have confidence that that's what that is, and that's where my concern comes from. So I'll let you go, Lee.
All right. I'm going to deconstruct the argument against Mitchell Robinson on 3 points. The first one's contract, the second one's role, and the third one's ability. Phil, which one should I start with?
Whichever tickles your fancy the most.
Let's do ability. All right, Mitchell Robinson, we are talking about a top 5 rebounder, a top 8 rim protector, and the number 1 offensive rebounder in the NBA. In the last decade, you just say the 2 best offensive rebounders in the NBA is Steven Adams and Mitchell Robinson. The reason that he makes $14 million a year is because he is top 10 in those three metrics, the three most important metrics for any center. Not only that, he's someone we have drafted and developed, is probably the best example of a Tom Thibodeau developmental system, as well as a Walt Perrin, Leon Rose investment in him to become a true center. So role-wise, he's exactly what you need. When the most frustrating thing right now in watching the Knicks is watching Karl-Anthony Towns guard the pick and roll. That's probably the most frustrating part. Well, guess what improves when Mitchell Robinson is back? That issue. We have seen Mitchell Robinson win a playoff series for us single-handedly against the Cleveland Cavaliers. I also agree with Eru. Against Miami, he was very underwhelming. But then he bounced back the next year and was probably the second or third most important reason why we beat the Philadelphia 76ers. His one-on-one defense against Joel Embiid won us that series. It was the X factor. You get rid of him, you're giving up a major component on how you're going to win all the way to the finals when your backup center is 6'8", 6'7", Precious Achiuwa. That's not a great investment. All right, let's switch over now to contract and money. He's only making $14 million this year. One more year on his deal next year for another 14. This is a setup right now. He will eventually be phased out as our backup center, and Ariel Hotporty will be phased in. By the time Mitch's contract is up, Hotporty will be a part of the rotation. So we're really paying Mitch for now, not for the future, but to win with this current roster and this current construction for the next 2 years. This window, Mitch is primed to be our backup center. Let's say he's not even all the way healthy. Cool. We really don't need him until the playoffs start. We could actually even go the first round and him not play. But as long as we have him when the opponents start going from the Chicago Bulls to the Boston Celtics, Milwaukee Bucks, Cleveland Cavaliers, that's where you need Mitchell Robinson. And as long as he's healthy for that, you're going to win that series because he can single-handedly lock down the opposing player's best 4 or best 5 and also complete that Tom Thibodeau offensive rebounding scheme that wins us games. Sorry, my mushrooms just kicked in, so I'm about to go on a hell of a rant. I like Mitchell Robinson for what he brings, and he doesn't need to be healthy to do that as long as he is in the postseason. He can miss the rest of the regular season. Heal your body, bro. Keep lifting weights. Keep doing cardio. Be in game shape by the time we come back in the postseason. Otherwise, we'd have break glass and get Gerald Simpson here. And I don't think any of us want to see that or see Precious Achiuwa as a long-term answer as the backup 5. Last role. He is the most.
Hold up, real quick on that part, because I want your thought on something you just said. You said, hold him out, whatever. So 2 things. First, we have talked and we've talked about the importance of chemistry and building, with your team and having that, understanding of each other's games and, continuity and all that fun stuff. Mitchell Robinson comes first round of the playoffs or right before. Do you not believe that disrupts that in any way, shape, or form since he hasn't played with a lot of these guys? First. Second, that Tom Thibodeau has if it's going to win me the game, I'm going to do it mentality. And so if it looks like the only way to win that game is to make Mitchell Robinson, who has not played all season, play a mass amount of minutes that could put strain on his body that he can't take after the surgery, does that not concern you that Tibbs would play him past his actual breaking point? Because that Mitch wants to be back, so Mitch is not going to be the guy who says, I can't play these minutes. He's going to want to play them. He hasn't played. He wants to play. Do you not think there's a possibility of him getting pushed beyond his limits based off of the Tom Thibodeau winning mindset?
I'll answer the second part first. No, I think that's an imaginary scenario. It's not based or grounded in any real occurrence, because if Mitchell Robinson is playing more minutes or more of a role or usage than he should, that means something serious has happened to Karl-Anthony Towns. And I'm going to knock on wood just so that doesn't happen. If that's the case, it's a wash. Like the season's a wash. If Karl-Anthony Towns ain't playing in the playoffs, I don't care who. I don't care if it's Valanciunas. I don't care if it's James Wiseman. We're losing that series if Cat's not there. So yeah, if Mitchell Robinson's having to play more minutes, that's a nightmare scenario.
But you're saying first round doesn't matter, but that there's going to be the teams that we need him, like that we need his presence, like alongside Cat to be able to win those games, such as the Bostons or the Clevelands. So I'm not talking about in games where we don't need him to play a ton because Cat is substantial. But the teams that you say that we need him in the playoffs, like him playing those kind of minutes.
No, I think we're pretty deep. I think you're going to see Precious Achiuwa play a portion of those minutes at the 5. I also think you're going to see eventually maybe 5 to 8 minutes of Towns and Mitchell Robinson sharing the court on its own. Otherwise, this is a team that is powered by their starting 5. There's a reason why our starting 5 is the highest minutes per game played together, because that's who Tibbs trusts, and that's who Tibbs is going to be playing down the line. Mitchell Robinson's not going to come in here playing 25 minutes a game. He's probably going to play somewhere, but I think it's going to be more than what Fritz said, more of an 8 if he's playing only center. I think it's going to be somewhere between 12 and 17, especially in the postseason. If we needed Mitch to be our starting center, I would be supremely concerned about everything right now. But he's technically the backup to a backup, because right now we are winning games. We're on pace for 60 wins. We're the 3rd best team in the East. We have 2 starters on an all-star team. We have the best starting 5 in the NBA. And our backup center is Precious Achiuwa. We don't even have Mitchell Robinson. So anything he brings is a bonus to what we already have, which is why we shouldn't trade him. And it's worth investing in him, because, as I said, it's a 2-year window for him to bring what he can bring before Hot Poirier takes over. And he's the most Tom Thibodeau player we have on the roster. Tibbs hasn't had the pieces to fit his schemes, and no player fits his rim protection, drop coverage scheme better than Mitchell Robinson. Why would you trade Tibbs' most important piece?
Okay, so that first question then.
The first I answered it.
That was the one about the minutes.
Yeah, I mean, it's not about minutes. He already knows this roster. He's played with everyone but Karl-Anthony Towns, who he won't share a lot of minutes with, and he's never
played with McHale.
Right, McHale, but he's played with Deuce. He's played with Brunson. He's played with OG. He's played with Josh Hart. Those are the guys, and Precious. Those are the guys you're going to be playing the majority of the minutes with. Yeah, he hasn't played with Landry Shamet, but you don't need a whole lot of practice getting to that pick and roll action off of a curl screen for Landry Shamet to shoot off of a dribble handoff. Those are things that like every basketball player knows on a basic level. I'm not worried about that continuity. He's going to be playing a very limited amount of minutes, and I think that he is fine with the continuity he has with the team and his tenure here under Tibbs, knowing his schemes. He's the best avatar for our drop coverage. I think he's going to be a fine acclimation. I'm not worried about him even playing a whole lot with Mikal Bridges. I don't think he will. So the guys that he does have comfortability with, he'll have the share of that court with them when the playoffs come around.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna throw it to Ebony, and then we'll circle back.
So I had to unmute myself. My go now, huh? Is my go. I just want to say,
this is your soapbox, girl. Get it.
Hold on, let me get up. Tibbs in last post game, not last, it was a couple post games. He had said something. It is like the start of our run. He said that the game talks to you, and I've been saying this for forever. Like, go with the flow of the game. It's not supposed to be this person subs in, this person subs in. They stay there out for this minutes, they stay out for that minutes. I never believed in that, because if it's not your day, it's not your day. You understand? So I'm cool with matching up with how another team's playing. And why would we wouldn't give up an offensive player that was a superstar on that end. Why would you do that on a defensive end when that's exactly what you need on this team? And we all know the greats, the Bill Russells, the Pat Summitt, sorry, Pat, RIP. We already know what they said. What wins championships, guys?
Defense
and rebounding. So the core, me and Eru we see eye to eye on a lot of subjects. Mitch is not one of them. To call him worthless, seeing what he did to 2 7-foot all-stars at that, made them look like baby poop. 2 7-foot all-stars. So that could never, short memories on that one.
But your memory's short too, because you got a 6'9" center that in the next series, made the 7-foot Mitch look small too.
He didn't play that next series though. Oh, you talking about Bam? And they schemed. That's how deadly that Mitch is. They schemed for him. They literally pulled him out the paint. They schemed for him. We literally have a defensive playmaker who, if we let him go to another team, that would be a mistake for us because we can't defend him. He is the player who will give us issues. We're gonna let him go to the next team? That's that.
I mean, there's more than one way to win basketball games, though.
Yeah, I got you, Hero. My memory's short, so
I got you. I'm sorry.
let me go, please. If we had Mitch in that ATL series, we all know that series would have looked a lot different. That's why we're so upset. We're upset because he wasn't available yet, right? So now we're upset he's not available now. But is it the playoffs? It's kind of giving me the Jimmy Butler and the Heat vibes. You remember when they were so injured and then they were healthy? Win in the playoffs. And how'd that look? They went to the finals. Like the reason I go to bat for Mitchell Robinson is because the disrespect, the lack of gratefulness to what he does. He does the dirty work. You remember when our team looked lost? We was asking for our identity. That was the identity. That was our grit. And they're getting it now. They're standing up. But like, it's crazy. We're talking about the team we have. Who's getting rebound? Who can guard box out Mitchell Robinson one-on-one? Now he has shooters. Yeah, you can't really name but two, about maybe one or two. Now he has shooters. They have to box him out one-on-one because they're around the perimeter. They have to. Then we talk about Josh Hart and him being in the fast break. He does not always have to stay in offensive rebound. Now he can leak. Now they can get easier transition buckets, which you see they're trying to do now. They're trying to get into fast breaks. Then we talk about the likes of OG, talk about the likes of Mikal. These are two other defensive playmakers on that wing. He's not erasing the mistakes of RJ and Quickly and this is Mikal. This is Deuce he's playing with. So all minutes are not the same minutes. We know this. Like not receive. Yeah. That. Whew. Like there is only one ball, y'all. There is only one ball. You need somebody to do dirty work. And we're talking about social media. Wouldn't you be upset if you doing literally the dirty work, the work that people really don't see? That's why I glorify defense so much, because people like to skip over that part. They only glorify the 3 points and the handles. No. Defense makes it competitive. It's what makes in the playoffs that grit when the game slows down. You need the guy in the back to hold you down on both ends. He can literally controls the paint on both sides, offensive, defensive, whichever way he controls the paint. You talk about screens and you talk about offense. So if I'm controlling the paint and I'm giving us extra possessions, you worrying about a hook shot or a post up, and I'm giving you extra 3-pointers, wide open 3-pointers at that. Like, we gotta stop. Like, the game is not an individual game. It's a team game for a reason, guys. We're asking all the things we're asking for is literally patience. Wait for the guy to get healthy so he can lead us in the playoffs. That's it. And then we talk about injuries. Maybe we've learned from last year. Last year we needed to brush him back, and we saw what it looked like, right? This year we're the third place. We're still right now the third place team in the East, right? Why would you rush him back?
Yeah.
Why would you rush him back? Defensive playmaking star. They don't grow on trees. In a league where nobody's playing defense, we have plenty. And we have one who plays that in. And y'all talking about social media. But what about actions? Did he not take a player-friendly contract with us last time? Because he said we show loyalty. That shows he wants to be here. Like, we got short memories, y'all. Y'all got to stop doing my guy like this. I'm sorry. And again, we say regular season. We want to get him to the playoffs is the main thing, right? Now, the contract-wise, I don't think he asked for more. But do I think somebody might give him more? They might.
Maybe.
Because there's a bunch of people who are dying for his skill set. Yeah. He is literally elite in his role. You cannot get his skill set in one other person. Because you're like, who? You talking about Miles Turner? Nope, you're not getting his skill set. He has a better offensive game. But what we need right now, that's Mitch.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying he's some savior. He's going to come in here playing 30, 40, 50 minutes a game. No, but what he's able to do for us is exactly what we need. Why would you get rid of it? Why would you give that to some other team knowing you got no answer for that man?
Good point.
I don't know. I know a lot of people saying he's untouchable, but Leon tried to vote him off the island this summer. So we know Leon Rose is not Tibbs. Tibbs will wait to Mitch the end of the earth.
That's another thing. He's a Mitch guy. I mean, Mitch is a Tibbs type of guy.
Yeah, but Leon tried to trade him this summer, knowing in the Cat trade. So he knew that what Cat's liabilities were, and he was willing to give up Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
I don't
That's
think
a great point.
I don't
And
think
I'm not saying they could trade it, but make it make sense is all I ask for.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, just give me value. I mean, that's all I want. I love Mitch, and I'm not one of those Mitch is bad type people, but the original plan was not to have him here. And we know Leon Rose, the type of person he is, he does not do risk. If your contract is risky, you're gone. If your play is risky, you won't do it, you're gone.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Right now, somebody that's
but right now he's a question mark. I see him a question mark. I'm sure Leon's in practice. If he sees question marks, he is gone.
And that's the one thing that I'll go with Fritz on. Like I said, in my dream scenario, Mitchell Robinson's been healthy for the last 2 months. And all of this stuff is just trolling. You know, like, hey, we're coasting right now. We don't need him. But when he comes back, the East is screwed. I would love that. However, when you have The Athletic and you have Bleacher Report and you have all these other people writing articles about the trades that they hear that the Knicks are still, listening to for Mitchell Robinson, including the most recent one of 7 hours ago, that the Knicks would consider trading Mitchell Robinson because of the question mark of his health for Nurkic, if Nurkic would be an available trade for him. That was something The Athletic put out 7 hours ago. So,
Phil, can I say something real quick about that? As being a Knicks fan since I was 9 years old, in a very, very long time now, right? Because I ain't been 9 in a long time. So, as somebody that's been a Knicks fan for a very long time, I know about Knicks for clicks, and then I know that this front office is very tight-lipped. I take reports as a grain of salt. It's like, thank you, I appreciate you. But until it happens, I'm not hearing none of it because everybody's been so wrong a lot of
typically I do. But The Athletic is someone that, especially with the credibility of like the Ian Begleys, and The Athletic tries to be the opposite of Knicks for clicks. And you've seen the reporters on their payroll that have tried to go that route with their articles. They don't have a very long lifespan with The Athletic. So when it's other people,
wouldn't another thing, I would expect New York to always be open to talk. That's the thing. Like, they've been open. That's why I know people were happy to hear. A lot of people were happy that they were doing it again. But that was said earlier in the season that they would be open to talk to moving him. You get what I mean?
But Fritz had a great point. It's not just open to talks, because I feel like league-wise, most people are open to talks on 95% of their players. There's the 5% that they're not willing to even take phone calls on. But when you were actually the first proposed part of a trade this summer, like Fritz said, you were not in the plans for the future of this current Knick team. Like, you weren't, So when I hear that they're taking calls still for Mitchell Robinson, it's not just that they're taking calls, but this is a guy that they were completely willing to part ways with this summer. They actually wanted him gone instead of Dante DiVincenzo, but the Timberwolves didn't want him. They wanted DiVincenzo in the trade instead. So that to me is a little bit different than just taking calls, because they're taking calls on a guy that they already said was fully available and now is further in the season, still not available for them when they expected. Like I said, my dream scenario would be that he's been, Hercules, and he's the Hulk, and he's been healthy, and he's been ready to come back and dominate. But I'm having a hard time believing that my fantasy is even a reality, or close to a reality. But I guess time will tell.
Yeah, I really, when they talk about Nurkic, I know it sounds horrible, but it's not the worst thing in the world. If you think of Mitch as 8 minutes, don't think of Mitch as a whole player. Think of Mitch as 8 minutes. The Knicks can look at Nurkic and say, hey, Phoenix, I know you just turn that 1 pick into 3 picks. Okay, you give me one of those first. And what if I give you 5 seconds? Would you give me a second first? Would that change your mind going in with 2 first-round picks from Phoenix? It becomes a whole different play for the future instead of just looking at it right now, 24-25 postseason. You're looking at Mitch's 8 minutes. You're not looking at him as his whole six years as a Knick. You're not looking at the whole package, what he can give you in 25 minutes. If you're looking at him for 8 minutes, that's not a bad investment.
Fritz, I love you.
One thing I want to say. Before you say anything, Ebony,
go ahead.
I see people in the chat saying Nurkic is garbage. Like, I'm sorry, guys.
He's okay.
He's not though. He's not garbage for what we would use him for. Like, if we're saying that Mitch is not going to be a 15 to 20 minute, 15 to 25 minute player, and that we're looking at like 10 to 15 minutes a game, like Nurkic right now is averaging 9 points, 9 rebounds, almost 2 assists on 46% shooting. Like, that's not horrible numbers for a backup center at all. Like that's still something that can contribute to where we're at. You pair that with a Precious Achiuwa, and that's a good, squad in the backcourt, in the paint for our squad. Like, is it the elite defense that you're going to get from Mitchell Robinson? No. But I think if they are exploring a Nurkic trade, it's not based off of solely skill sets, but availability and who can play for us right now, who can come in and make a difference right now. So I don't think those stats are horrible, like with where he's at, especially if you look at the squad that he's playing with. Like, of course, he's not putting up the same amount of points that he's putting up for, when he played with Portland, because he's playing with a lot of scorers in Phoenix. Like, he's playing with Devin Booker, he's playing with Kevin Durant, he's playing, those guys put up numbers, so getting an extra, 9 points off the bench, 9 rebounds, 2 assists from a center is not a bad look. And yes, I understand that he's not a great defender. Completely understand that. But what I'm saying is, if the Knicks are taking calls, to me, that's because there's a concern on where Mitchell Robinson is in his progression to healthiness. That's my take on it. Like, if what I thought was true and that he was, ready for the last 2 months, I think calls would cease. Because they would be like, we have the missing piece off the bench, and in 2 months, he's going to come and destroy everybody. We're going to wait to unleash the beast. I think they're taking calls because things did not progress the way that they hoped they would by this time in the season, and that's a concern. That's just my thoughts.
I think that it's very fair to say that Leon is taking calls on Mitch. I think he's been taking calls on Mitch maybe for the last 3 years, waiting for the right deal to happen for him to trade him. So that's not new news, nor is that news I think any of us are denying, because we all live in reality, and Leon's always trying to upgrade the roster. However, Nurkic is trash. He has been removed from his starting lineup this year for Mason Plumlee. Right now, he's a third-string center behind Nick Richards. He is not only bad on defense, he's also bad as a perimeter defender. He's bad as a rim protector. He has a reputation for being soft, and he has become a malcontent in their locker room. He's become a bad teammate, which is why he was removed from the starting lineup. He is a me-first offensive player, meaning he's not going to be the type of guy who's going to set up teammates like Hartenstein. When he hits the ball, he wants to make some really half-ass, halfway move, similar to Jonas Valanciunas, who wants to be a primary offensive load. That's not what we need for that backup center role. We need offensive rebounding. We need someone who's going to do putbacks, someone who can be a lob threat and limited opportunities. Jericho Sims is a better fit for us than Nurkic. I think Tibbs would absolutely hate Nurkic. Not only that, he makes $19 million, which means it's not just Mitch, it's Precious too. And Precious plus Mitchell Robinson for Nurkic. Now Leon Rose just committed the worst trade in his tenure as the executive basketball operations. If you're going to trade Mitch, it better be for someone who fits the Tom Thibodeau scheme and style and is only more available than Mitchell Robinson. That's the one caveat you have to add. No to Nurkic, though.
All right. Well, I've given Mitchell Robinson enough shine on this episode. So all we can do now is wait and see.
Yes.
We get what is so we'll see if anything. Like I said, my dream scenario would be that he's healthy, ready to come back. I'm just very concerned that he's not ready to come back, and I don't know what that means for our future. So I'm just going to hope. But we're going to move on to the next topic. For those that are still rocking with us, we appreciate you. We'll go on for a few minutes left. We got 225 in the building right now. It's been up and down, so thank you guys so much. But so we talked about Kevin McCullough Jr. played today. Finally came out of time away from his injury. But something else to point out is someone that has been kind of killing it on our G League, which makes you go, dang. Can he not come and play like 8 minutes for us in the time that Mitchell Robinson is not here? Is Moses Brown. Like Moses Brown last night, listen to me. He's been putting up games with not just points, but rebounds. Like 19 points, 25 rebounds last night. So yes, G League is different. But if 25 rebounds and 20 points can transfer to 10 and 10 off the bench, why not try it? Why not try it in Mitchell Robinson's absence? If we are really trying to hold out for Mitchell Robinson, if a guy is pulling up almost 30 rebounds, in the G League, maybe he can grab us 10 off the bench. Just something to think about. Like we do have players elsewhere that we can check out. Next thing I want to talk about is we're only one game behind the Boston Celtics. This is the team that everybody predicted would be the front runners of the East this year. And aside from the Cavaliers Cinderella story of everything that didn't click last year and everyone thought that they were going to blow it up, all of a sudden clicking like the best Disney movie you could ever watch, the Boston Celtics would have been those front runners still if it wasn't for the Cleveland story. And we're only one game behind them. Like, I think that says something about our squad because we've gone through a season of not really knowing who we were as a team in the beginning of the season, not knowing how we were going to gel. A good portion of those games where Mikal Bridges looked lost and couldn't find his shot. A good portion of those games where we didn't know if our bench was actually going to be able to contribute. So I think the fact that we are right now, when all things are starting to click for our team, we're only one game behind the Boston Celtics. That says a lot about the future of this New York Knicks team, in my opinion. So what are your thoughts on that, Iru?
I just totally missed what the question was. What was the question?
So what are your thoughts on the fact that everyone thought the Celtics were going to be, the epitome of that, of the East, and bar the fact that Cleveland had their Cinderella story, they still would have been that team in the East, but they're only one game ahead of us. What does that say, even in the confusion of who we were in the beginning of the season, what this New York team has to offer?
I mean, the Knicks are a good team. We have one of the best starting lineups in the league, and that's it really. We just a good team. As the season plays out, nobody thought that Cleveland would be where they are, but it just shows that what a coach can do. Coach can come in there and change what they do. You know what I'm saying? So they're a different team. The Boston Celtics, they might have because they won a championship. It's not easy to repeat. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times you have too much confidence and stuff like that. So as the season goes on, they go through their little hardships. But that's why you play 82 games. Just the NBA commissioner wants to shorten the minutes for the games, bring it down to 40 and all that stuff, man. So I mean, little things like that are annoying because it takes away from from what the season is, what the season is all about. So that's why you have to play these games and play it all out and stuff like that, man. So as far as the Knicks, the Knicks are where they should be, where they should be. So, confident where we are
Yeah.
and whatever. We just have to continue to persevere through
Yeah.
what's been going on.
And so one thing I'll say to your point is so many people do not realize that statement. It is hard to do a back-to-back championship season. Like, it is hard. So when people look at, the Heat back-to-back victories and don't realize how crazy that was to have 2 seasons back-to-back where they won championships, you're not realizing how good and how much those teams fought to be there, because it's hard the first time and then it's even harder that second time. And same thing with the Lakers of Shaq and Kobe, but then you look at teams like Golden State, when you start getting three-peats, or the Chicago Bulls of the 90s. Like, it's not just hard to do it 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. So giving props to those teams, because it gets harder every single time, and I think people don't realize that. So before I throw it to Apollo, you asked for the tasting notes of this Four Roses. So this one is like vanilla, so it's got that sweetness, and then it's kind of like apple cinnamon, but kind of, so if you think of like apple cinnamon Cheerios, but not like straight out of the box where the cinnamon's a little overbearing, but after it's been in the milk for a little bit, and like the apple is the star and the cinnamon kind of hints in the background, that's exactly what this is. So it's absolutely delicious.
Well, to add on to what you were saying with the Celtics or whatever, I just was thinking about Jaylen Brown. He's getting the same flack that he got like a couple seasons ago, where they said he couldn't dribble and they need to trade him and stuff like that. He's going through that right now too. So that attributes to what's happening with them this season also. So
Yeah. All right, Apollo, what are your thoughts?
Oh, sorry.
You good?
Oh, my bad. I didn't know if somebody was talking. So I mean, as far as the Celtics goes, like, I feel as though, like you made a good point, Eru, saying that, it's really difficult to win a championship back to back, because we're talking about, like, look at the Nuggets team that we just beat last night. You know what I mean? Like, they just won a championship 2 years ago. So you know what I mean? It's not easy to just go do that. Like, do I think the Celtics can win another championship this year? I think what they ran into last year was dependent on a lot of injuries as well to certain teams and just how matchups happen. But they were the best team in the East at the end of the day. So, and they're, the most healthy too, on top of that. So, that's that. But this year, I think the competition, especially between our teams, the first night, I don't know if the people who make the schedule, if they do this by design, but it's just very weird that we're about to hit February and we still haven't seen the Celtics, which means there's a lot of Celtics games coming up. So for the second half of the season. So, I feel like they kind of knew, like, yeah, just see what they'll look like on the first night, see what it looks like. And when this team gets to gel a little bit, then we'll really see how this matchup really plays out. And, to me, I just think that they're a team that can be beat. Even last year, I felt like they were a team that could be beat. I don't necessarily think they were, no disrespect, I don't necessarily think they were severely challenged to the point of, like, the Warriors teams or the Cavs teams or the Heat teams. They weren't really challenged like that. So, even the Nuggets, so I think this year with the team that we have, like, there are teams that do have our numbers sometimes, depending on who we run into. Like, we talk about the Rockets, but I think we built our team to go against the Celtics, and I don't think the Celtics are going to hit 29 threes every time they play us. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we can actually prove our dominance in certain areas with that team, because they do have the wings, but I don't know. I don't feel like they're as consistent as they have been in the past, and a lot of their flaws are starting to be evident this year. But you still can't. They still won the championship. You can't take too much from them. But as when it comes to our team, I just think that our matchup with them bearing a Porzingis like blow up game, I think we can really handle a lot of what they throw out. If we're being honest, because I think especially figuring out rotations the way we have recently, I think we can. I think we can beat that team. But it remains to be seen. I really can't wait to play that squad here shortly. So, looking forward to that.
Yeah. No, I agree. So before we start getting closing thoughts on the next game and what we think is going to happen the rest of the season, where do you guys think we can end up at the end of the season? I'll ask the last three that didn't answer this question. Do you think that it's even possible for us to make a push for first place at the end of the season? Or do you think that second place is where we will most likely be battling for? I'll go to you first, Fritz.
I think we're battling for second place, unless there's an injury, a major injury to the Cavs. I think Cavs are going to be that first place team. I think between us and the Celtics, I think we're going to jockey for position, because to the Celtics, they're not really fighting for anything. They know exactly who they are. They know the pecking order, unlike previous years. Brown knows his role. Tatum knows his role. I think they just might be bored and unable to bring that fire the whole year. So I think that's who we're battling it out with. I think Cavs are solely in that first place, unless there's some injury.
Yeah. All right. Before I go to Ebony on this one, if you guys if you see that little coffee at the top right there, that's called Buy Me a Coffee. YouTube likes to take any money that you guys donate. Not that you guys donated any money, so it doesn't really matter. But if you guys want to donate anything to the show and to feed some mouths or to get us a coffee or a drink for the next episode, if you just scan that little barcode at the top right with your phones, you're able to donate anything you would like to donate to the show in order to continue to keep doing this. Honestly, like, we are not some of those channels where we make money off of this and this is our jobs. Well, we'd like it to be, of course. That would be a dream to sit home and be like, hey, Lee, there's some news that just happened. You guys want to go live? Sure, I got nothing else to do. Knicks is our job. But unfortunately for all of us, that's not where we're at right now. So if you guys could scan that little barcode right there, put a little in the account. Maybe we can buy a whiskey. Maybe we can buy a coffee. Maybe we can buy a ticket to a Knick game. Probably not. Those are way too expensive. But anyway, anything you guys can do, scan that little barcode would be a total blessing. But I think you guys have great points that it's most likely going to that second place position, Fritz. But Ebony, what are your thoughts? What do you think we're fighting for? I see some people saying that they've read that Mitch will be back on the 8th. To me, that's crazy talk, since he hasn't practiced yet, and that would be in 8 days from today. But maybe, like I said, maybe the Knicks are doing something crazy and keeping things from us, and he shows up at that Boston game and shows what the team could look like with Mitchell Robinson. But what are your thoughts on where you think we'll seed at the end of the season?
I'm an optimist. I think we're gonna win every game until we lose. So I'm going for that number one spot, especially if we could get our defense up into that top 10, top 5 area. We could keep it there. I think, why not? With the Cavaliers, they're on a great streak. But people make me believers in the playoffs. That's when I become a believer of your team, or your player, or your star player. You get what I mean? I need to see you in the light, as my man Jalen Allen said, the lights, when the lights are the brightest. I need to see what you look like and what you're doing there to be a believer. That's why I'm not sold on the Cavs just yet, especially against us. I get they're playing good team defense. But if we incorporate what we're doing right now, and plus the physicality on the defensive end, I don't see why not. And then with the same things with the Celtics. I believe if you take if you take away their 3-pointers and you become physical with them on both ends, you make both of their stars have to work on both ends. What does that look like? And we have the capability to do that. And then we talk about the winning energy players we have. That any moment they can go off. You can get 16, 17 from Josh if you let him, so or Deuce, depending on the game or the flow. So yeah, I'm all for. I'm with all the smoke. I'm not ducking none of them, and I'm really not a believer. I don't think, and like Ebro had mentioned, how it's difficult to repeat. You got to keep that hunger. We saw the Boston Celtics. It took them a minute to get it together. Just them learning, Jaylen Brown and Tatum learning how to play with each other. So, sky's the limit. Camaraderie. We talk about chemistry, and this team likes to play for each other. I know people joke on the power of friendship, but that it goes far. Believe me, playing on a team with still that some people that are my best friends and sisters and godmoms of my kids. You play for each other a lot differently when you like each other, and that's your real deal homie. So that's why I'm not interested in getting just any and everybody in here, because you can mess that up in a jiffy. You don't take much to get a locker room cancer in your organization.
Yeah. And so before Ebony goes, I'll share this quote because I feel like this will hit Ebony in the heart, and warm and give her all the warm fuzzies. But it's a great point. It was, we've seen Mitch dominate Cleveland in the playoffs. Why not bring him along slow, get a cheap insurance big, and keep Precious? It's a great point because we talk about where Mitch didn't show up, but where he did show up is against the team that is the top seed right now. That is the team to beat. Yes, they are obviously a different team than they were then. Like they're playing a lot better. They have chemistry. They know who they are now. But that presence of Mitchell Robinson would still be a factor. So maybe the front office is keeping him around solely for the fact that our number one target no longer is the Boston Celtics. Our number one target to beat is the Cleveland Cavaliers. And we know that Mitch has helped us with that. So that's a great point. So I'll throw it now to Lee Escobedo.
I think we're going to be first place in the East. We're only 6.5 games back from the Cavs. And I really think there's going to be a period, not a super long one, but a slight regression to the mean for the Cavaliers. I think they're exceeding all expectations right now, even their own. I think the shooting will come down. They're really light. They're red hot from the perimeter. They're also a really efficient pick and roll team and a really efficient offensive rebounding team. I think some of those statistics will revert back to the mean, and we'll get a team that's about at the same level as us. I don't think they're going to be at this front runner pace all season. So I think they'll actually drop some games and we'll gain a little bit of lead over them because of our ability to stay healthy. And hey, if Mitch comes back February 6th, or maybe even before, I think we're going to blow past them by 4 or 5 games before the season's over. So I have great confidence in our squad. Cleveland doesn't scare me. Was blessed to write a bid piece on them for The Guardian that came out a couple of days ago on all my reasons why I think they won't win a championship and what has to happen for them too. And the conclusion I came with grind the tape is that they depend a lot on their starters as well. And it's been a long time since we've seen a backcourt of 2-6-1 guys and 2 traditional bids win a championship with that kind of lineup. That's since the 2004 Pistons. So I think it's going to be a tough road for them. I think there'll be maybe a deep playoff run, but I think we have more than enough in the tank, and we've already shown that we could beat them in the postseason.
Yeah. So what's kind of crazy is I feel like this next part of the season is going to tell a lot. I looked at their schedule and I looked at ours, and both schedules have pretty much the equivalent amount of, you should definitely win that game versus this could be a challenging game ahead of you. So it's going to be a matter of over these next month of games, which team steps up against those teams that may be harder for them to play. What are they going to do and what are we going to do is going to be a really trying time because we play a lot of the same teams over these next few weeks, which is kind of crazy to look at their schedule and look at ours. It's like a few days difference of the teams that we play. So I think this could be a very telling part of the season coming up. So I'm hoping for, nothing but blue and orange skies. I'm hoping that we see our team thrive. The last thing we'll talk about before we go, we try to close out at 10:30, let people get their kids to bed and all that fun stuff. But we got the Lakers coming up on Saturday. What are your guys' thoughts? We'll keep it real simple. One answer. Do you think we take it? Do you think that we lose this game? Bottom line, just give us a, hey, we walk away victorious. Hey, I think this game will be a challenge, and why. So I'll throw it to you first, Eru.
Well, they don't have athletic wins, so I think we're gonna we're gonna beat them. I don't think it's gonna be a problem. I think we should beat them.
Yeah. All right. What's your thoughts, Ebony?
Before I start my thought, I know we said real quick. I remember fans said that Austin Reeves was better than Jalen Brunson. I never forgot that. I never forgot the LA fans saying that. So that was absolutely crazy. They didn't really have a space about it, but that's crazy. That's one. I think we walk away with this W. We continue our streak, especially this defense that we're playing is not the chicken with the head cut off defense. So I'm loving that. It's just, we're gelling, and I get that Lakers are playing better team, but they just lost to the Philadelphia 76ers. So I definitely think we come away with a W versus them.
Yeah. All right, Lee Escobedo.
I do want to make a quick aside on the Cleveland Cavaliers. They are one of the worst crunch time teams in the NBA. If you look at their three top players, Mobley, Garland, and Donovan Mitchell, all of them shoot well below their season averages in the last 3 minutes of a game, both from three and from the field. Garland is especially atrocious. So that's going to play in our favor when the game starts slowing down, especially in the postseason. Lakers, I have no fear of. I think AD is out for a week. So that really takes care of the matchup between him and Cat. Cat will feast on Rui Hachimura's bum ass, and whoever else they have playing the five. Yes, basically contain Austin Reeves and Dalton Nett off of those curls and dribble handoffs and make sure they don't kill you from three. Like those type of guys always kill the Knicks from three and have for seems like the entire time I've been watching the team. So yeah, Knicks by 15.
All right, Mr. Apollo.
Before I hit my Lakers point real quick, I always just like to refer back to this. The first game we played against the Celtics, I really just want everybody to focus on the fact that the first quarter was a 19-point differential. Outside of that, it's a 4-point game. That's it. If you take the first quarter away, shock value, these guys just won a championship. The other team just put their team together. Outside of that first quarter, I'm not really panicking. So that's just that. But Lakers, I think we beat them. They don't have AD. I don't think they'll have AD for the next week or something like that. I think he's hurt. They don't, like you said, they don't really have the wings. And I think, like Lee says, you pack up those Austin Reeves and Dalton Connects. I don't really think they have the pieces to really compete long term in that game. So I'm looking for an actual game where we can get some rest for our starters. So yeah, like you said, 15-point victory.
All right, Mr. Fritz.
No AD is a factor. It is prime time on ABC, and Bron always gets up for those. Let him get his highlights. Let us get his points off. Let's get out of there with a 20-point win.
Bet. All right, and I'll close with saying right now it seems like there's a lot of mess with the Lakers. Like JJ Redick in that last game against the 76ers, cursing out LeBron James and cursing out Dalton. Like he is unhinged right now as a coach, not connecting with his players, like having straight up, like just not seeing eye to eye altercations with them. It is kind of crazy. So I think there's a lot that I see a lot of talks about them trying to make some changes before the trade deadline, which is constantly what the LA Lakers with LeBron James seems to be. Like there's always something that's got to be changed or traded for it to work. And then it never works. So I think that we take this game. I think that if we play the way that we played last night, it's going to be a breeze. I would love to in the fourth quarter see some of the guys that haven't gotten minutes get some going into the All-Star break. So I think that's definitely a W for us as well. But that's about it. It is about 10:25, so we appreciate the over 270 plus of you that have been in and out throughout the night. We thank you guys so much for rocking with us. If you can, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Every single game, there's a post game with Lee, Jay Ellis, Ebony. One day Ryan will come back. He does still exist. I promise you. He's still alive. We actually can verify through text message. He still breathes. He's still alive. Fritz is always behind the ones and twos, helping out, just being amazing. Like, a lot of this does not happen without, the care of Fritz. This show I run, but he runs all the post-game shows. Like, this guy is incredible. Shout out to our guy, Jay Ellis, the guy who started this, the guy who had believed in every single person that's on this network. We appreciate all of you for rocking with us. We appreciate everybody in the chat. Like, seriously, we do not take it for granted. I know some people just see people in their chat as a dime a dozen. We do not. We do not take it for granted that you're rocking with us through this whole time. You're sharing your thoughts. You're supporting the channel, even if it's not financially, emotionally, rocking with us with your time. We appreciate that. That's more valuable than anything. So thank you guys so much. If you can, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. If you are not subscribed, stop wasting your time. Subscribe. Hit the notifications so you know when we all go live. Follow my guy Apollo and his Guard Up Knicks podcast for when him and the family get to connect. Sometimes it's a little more sparse than we would like, but adult life happens, and getting family on the same page is always hard. Also, follow my guy Eru with his Die Hard Knicks podcast for the games and watch-alongs, and support them. Also, if you are in New York and you want to connect, I will be in the city for that Boston game. I will be going to American Whiskey for the first half with my guy Eru, and hopefully Ebony's going to come and share some whiskey with me. And then after that, we will go support Tony and the Omni twins over at Diamante's for the second half of the show, as we hopefully watch our Knicks take a victory against the Boston Celtics. So thank you guys so much. Panel, I love you guys. Like, seriously, Fritz, getting to know you over these last few months has been nothing but a blessing, and I appreciate you and all your hard work to everything that we do and all of your support. Lee, you're like a brother. Like, I freaking love you. Everything that we talk about, no matter if we see eye to eye or not, that I got your back. I know you got mine. Ebony, you are seriously like the person that I probably would have hung out with on the stoop. So, it's nothing but love, joking around nonstop. So I appreciate you and all you do. And most of all, I appreciate that you guys have great, great takes always. Whether we agree or not, it's fully thought out, and that's what we love. Apollo, I don't even need to say it. You're my guy. I love you. Even though you don't call me when you're in Orlando, there's no bad blood there.
It will never happen again. It'll never happen again, bro.
You know what it is, bro. Whether in person or via text, it's like I'm just hanging out with my family. So I appreciate you all. Thank you all once again in the chat. We appreciate you. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Post this on your Twitter, post this on your Instagram, because even though the show is over, Replay Gang lives on. So share it so that other people can watch, other people can hear the takes. And if there's certain things that you guys want us to talk about or certain people you want us to have on the show, hit us up on Twitter, hit us up on Instagram, share those thoughts. Anybody got anything they want to say before we close out?
Yeah, I just want to say I appreciate you for having. I don't know, Lee. I heard somebody. Did I cut somebody off? I'm sorry.
No, you good.
I just want to say appreciate you as always too, Phil. I don't know if everybody knows, but Phil was the first one to invite me on the pod on a pod. So I guess he started my pod adventure. So I appreciate him always for having faith in me and giving me a platform, his platform, whenever, sharing his platform rather. So appreciate you, Phil, definitely.
Yeah, Phil, you
Welcome.
know I love you, man. We've always connected being two Latinos talking about Knicks basketball. I
Yes,
can't wait to finally meet you in person, bro. Like
I know, bro.
it's
I can't wait.
wow. It's gonna be wild when you all finally see me in person, man. I can't wait to give everybody a big ass hug. But I do want to say, I don't take debates lightly. I really enjoy debating on everything. Ebony can attest. I mean, hell, Fritz can attest. Phil can attest. But I really appreciate the back and forth that I had tonight with Eru. Great takes, bro. I love debating you. I can't wait to come back on the show or debate you on Twitter.
Hebrew is a beast.
Love it, bro. that is so sick. I had to copy that. My bad for biting that. I might have that next time I come on the show. Anyways, I really appreciate the debate, and I can't wait to go one-on-one with you again.
Also, this pod is all about shared success. So definitely check out Lee's new article. He goes in a little more depth about Cleveland Cavaliers as a team going forward. He's doing big things, writing for the Guardian.
Yes,
Big time,
Salute,
big
man.
time, he's taking over the world. So please, please follow him on Twitter. Please read his article, like it, share it.
Yes, please do. You know, it's awesome to see a channel that celebrates everybody's success instead of, building someone's platform and everyone else's the Jackson 5. So I appreciate the fact that Lee is killing it on multiple platforms. Like the fact that he can sit down and just talk basketball and it doesn't have to be fully about the Knicks. It is really awesome to see. And so he's getting his flowers, which are well deserved.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate y'all.
You're welcome.
Well
So,
deserved,
yes.
my guy. Well deserved.
Lee posted the article right there, so I'm going to give it a second. Yeah, I'll hit that edit copy, edit paste real quick before I end the chat. But we thank you guys so much. Eru, Apollo, y'all got anything to say before we head out?
Nah, man. Go Knicks. We're doing good. Keep the good vibes going. I don't want us to harbor too much on anything negative because we're doing good, and let's keep that up.
Ditto.
All right. All right, Eru.
Ditto.
On that note, I'm going to get off and go hang out with my wife. So I appreciate you guys all. And let's go Knicks. Our next game is Saturday, I believe. So we got a few days. Is it Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday, 8:30.
Saturday. All right. So we got a few days of rest. We saw what a few days of rest did for this last game for our squad. It was beautiful. So hopefully that continues. Thank you guys so much. God bless. And if you need anything, please feel free to holler at us on Twitter, on Instagram, anything you want. You want to talk Knicks, you need prayer, you need whatever. I'm there for you. Holler at your boy. All right. Appreciate you all. God bless. Have a good night.
Peace.
This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot 'em my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down.